Chapter 2477. 2477 Dragon Palace Upgrade. The Heaven Beast Corporation, the Thousand Beast Hall, the Heavenly Tiger Sect and Grandmaster Palea Beast were the four overlords of war pets in this region. Along with the other small factions, they had a huge amount of resources. However, because the leaders of the four big factions weren't killed, they had a lot less resources. Even so, the Dragon Palace still obtained a lot of resources this time. Especially the various fixed assets. After selling them, they would be able to obtain quite a number of god stones. Apart from that, there were also over a dozen planets. In the following period of time, Wang Xian brought Ao He and the rest to search for the immortal god countries. With the corpses around, it wasn't too difficult to search through the array formation. The Dragon Palace spent over a dozen days to build the Dragon Palace in the ocean of these dozen planets. They sold all the fixed assets of the various powers and used them all to buy pills. Dragon King, the immortal kingdoms with 9 attributes have been gathered. All the god stones have been used to buy elixirs. 15 days later, Prime Minister Gue walked over with a smile on his face and reported to Wang Xian. Alright, let's raise the level of the Dragon Palace first and raise the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. He squinted his eyes and stood up immediately. Ding. Do you wish to devour metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, lightning and darkness, immortal king, to advance to the Dragon Palace? Wang Xian stood in front of the dragon throne as the system's voice rang out. Devour, upgrade. He immediately gave the order. Buzz. Crack, crack, crack. The next moment, the entire Dragon Palace trembled as 9 colored laws gradually enveloped the entire Dragon Palace. At the same time, the area of the Dragon Palace expanded at a terrifying speed. The Dragon Palace, which was originally 1,000 kilometers in circumference, was now 10,000 kilometers in circumference. It was located in the underground sea and was emitting a 9-colored luster. In the Dragon Palace, all the members of the Dragon Palace looked around with joy. Dragon Palace, Level 8. Dragon Master, Wang Xian, Eternal God Lord, Level 7, Yin-Yang 5 Elemental Divine Dragon. Buildings. Dragon King Hall, Level 8. Increases the cultivation speed and recovery speed of the Dragon King by 768 times. Dragon Transformation Pool, Level 8, absorbing dragon blood can give birth to a dragon seed, origin. 153245555. Dragon Gate, Level 8, a fish can only become a dragon after leaping through the Dragon Gate, effective against creatures below Void God Emperor. Sea Pacifying Divine Needle, Level 8, Dragon Palace Pillar, pacifying 80,000 kilometers of the Dragon Palace, increasing the combat strength of the members of the Dragon Palace by 1,000%. Dragon Cave, Level 8, with 10 million dragon caves, the cultivation speed of the creatures in the Dragon Cave will increase by 512 times. Dragon Field, Level 8, practice martial arts in the Dragon Field, increase comprehension by 256 times. Dragon Array, Level 8, Dragon Palace Array, concealment, defense, gathering of spiritual energy, wormhole, detection, attack. Spiritual items. Ancestral Tree. Level, able to return the soul of creatures below Eternal Lord level. Activate the spiritual intelligence of creatures. Increase 400% of the speed of fire attribute cultivators. 400% of the speed of wood attribute cultivators. 400% of the speed of lightning attribute cultivators. Dragon Transformation Pool, breeding dragon species. Current dragon species: golden swordfish, thunder shrimp, demon monkey, strange demon, light spike, hydra, dragon turtle, yaksha, clam girl, golden lobster, starwood dragon species, fire phoenix dragon species. Current top-tier dragon species of the Dragon Palace: arrow dragon species, spike dragon species, mad dragon species, starwood dragon species, golden swordfish dragon species. Special buildings. Dragon Nest, devouring dragon, none. Devouring dragon. It consumes energy to create its own insect species. The mother insect feeds on all kinds of metal materials. An extremely terrifying power of laws filled the entire Dragon Palace. Now, an ordinary person was placed here and allowed to cultivate slowly. In a year's time, he would be able to cultivate to the godly state. In a dozen to 20 years, he would be able to advance to the level of the Eternal Lord. This was the power and terror of the Dragon Palace now. This time, the improvement of the Dragon Palace is much faster than before. Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. Last time he was only upgraded after he reached the level of an eternal god lord. This time, before he reached the level of an immortal king, the Dragon Palace had already been upgraded. A level 8 Dragon Palace could already be hidden in the void crack. However, it was different from an ordinary immortal god country. If the Dragon Palace hid within the space fissure, it would form an ocean within. An undying country the size of the space within the space fissure, one could see the strength of an undying country. The strength of the Dragon Palace was definitely not something a normal undying country could compare to. The attributes of the Dragon Palace had doubled, and there was one more pinnacle dragon. This represented the limit of the Dragon Palace. There were a total of 5 of them. 3 of them were dragon species that had existed in the Dragon Palace in the past. The other 3 starwood dragon species were due to the ancestral tree. The golden swordfish dragon species were also known as the Dragon Guards. Currently, the Dragon Guards could only fight 2 levels above them. The reason why they were classified as peak-level dragon species was due to their potential. They also possessed great potential. The ancestral tree had now become a towering tree. It was at least 2,000 meters tall with luxuriant branches and leaves. It emitted a holy radiance that enveloped the dragon throne. This caused Wang Xian to sit at the bottom of the throne. It was filled with mystery and divine radiance. The level of the ancestral tree was still a question mark. Even with Wang Xian's current strength, he could not detect it. According to Wang Xian's estimation, an existence like the ancestral tree was the top holy item in the universe. After all, it was because of the ancestral tree that the Starwood Dragon Seed was born. All members of the Dragon Palace, gather immediately. Wang Xian immediately gave an order. The number of members of the Dragon Palace had already reached 170,000. This was not counting Aohe's subordinates. Aohe's devouring dragon had already reached 100,000. All of them were at the level of the Eternal Lord. It was extremely terrifying. Bus. Soon, more than 100,000 members of the Dragon Palace gathered in the Dragon Field. Every single one of them was exuding a powerful aura. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and smiled. The Dragon Palace had already reached 170,000 members. Every single one of them could be considered as a powerhouse in this area. The leader was the 55 Immortal King-level powerhouses of the Dragon Palace. This did not include the Immortal King-level powerhouse of the Devouring Dragon. The energy in the Dragon Transformation Pool can allow 50 members to have the combat strength of an Immortal King. Prime Minister Gue assigned 50 members of the Dragon Palace to increase their combat strength. As for the other 55 members of the Immortal God King, I will help you to upgrade your combat strength again. The disciples of the Immortal God Lord level will also receive a huge upgrade. Wang Xian said to all the members of the Dragon Palace. Thank you, Dragon King. All the members responded immediately. Aohe, your devouring dragon should have a huge upgrade this time. Wang Xian's gaze landed on Aohe as he spoke. After killing nearly 40 Immortal Kings, there were quite a number of level 2 Immortal Kings. According to the resources that the devouring dragon needed to upgrade. This time, the devouring dragon could add 10 level 1 Eternal God Lord members. Aohe could upgrade to level 2 Immortal King. Other than him, the resources should be enough for one devouring dragon to upgrade to level 2 Immortal King. According to Wang Xian's rough estimation, the Dragon Palace should be able to increase the combat strength of 3 Immortal King level 4. At that time, it was time for the Dragon Palace to counterattack. Chapter 2478 2478-2478 Declaring War? The Arrogance of the Dragon Palace. Time slowly passed, half a month to an undying emperor with 1,000,000 years of lifespan, it was just a snap of the fingers. But to the Dragon Palace they were 1,000,000 times faster than the other powers. In half a month, all the members of the Dragon Palace had completely digested all the resources. Close to 40 undying emperor corpses, along with the resources from the sale, made Aochi Tian step into Undying Emperor Level 1. Undying Level 1 he had Undying Level 4 battle strength. Other than Aochi Tian's improvement, Ao Xing Mu Aochi, Mu Zhe Sen and the 3 members of the Dragon Palace all had Undying Level 2 battle strength. Right now, the number of Dragon Palace Undying Level 1 members had reached 80. Other than them, the ones who had increased the most were the Devouring Dragon, Aohe and the others. Aohe and the others could be said to be part of the Bug Clan. The Bug Clan's characteristics were fully displayed on them. The strongest was their crazy growth and reproduction. Their numbers didn't increase, but their strength had increased by a lot. Close to 40 undying countries, the swallowing dragon had 12 undying level 1 existences. Among them, a few level 2 undying countries allowed Aohe and a swallowing dragon to reach undying level 2. Level 2 could fight level 4. Level 1 could fight level 3. In other words, the Dragon Palace had 3 undying king level 4 fighters, 18 undying king level 3 fighters, 6 undying king level 2 fighters, and 80 undying king level 1 fighters. There were a total of 107 undying king level fighters. This was not counting Wang Xian. More than 100 undying king level fighters were definitely overlords in this region. The Iron Blood Alliance, which was hidden very deeply and many people didn't know about, was much weaker than the Dragon Palace in terms of overall strength. After all, the Iron Blood Alliance only had over 40 undying godly monarchs. Dragon King, during the period when the Dragon Palace's strength increased, we discovered something about the chairman of the Heavenly Beast Group, the sect leader of the Heavenly Tiger Sect, the hall leader of the Thousand Beast Hall, and the Ancient Beast Grandmaster. In the Dragon King's hall, Prime Minister Gue walked in with a piece of information in his hand. Have you found them? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and asked immediately. During the month when the members of the Dragon Palace were improving, although Wang Xian's strength did not improve further, he used this period of time to completely master the black hole disturbance formation that could trap a level 3 immortal king. In the past, he did not have the time to master it, so a level 3 immortal king could easily shatter the black hole disturbance formation. Now he could completely trap it. In other words, he could capture a level 3 immortal king desolate beast and kill a level 3 immortal king. Dragon King, someone found them at the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Prime Minister Gui reported. Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Wang Xian mumbled. During the previous battle, the Eastly Immortal Dynasty had secretly helped them and bought their battle pets in advance. Wang Xian was very clear about that. At that time, the Dragon Palace was not a match for the Eastly Immortal Dynasty, so Wang Xian did not take any action. But now, are you sure that the 4 of them are in the Eastly Immortal Dynasty? Wang Xian confirmed. Yes, Dragon King. This matter has been reported to the AI. Now almost everyone knows about it. Furthermore, during the battle a month ago, everyone and all the factions basically understand that the Eastly Immortal Dynasty is involved. Prime Minister Gue immediately said. In that case, go and announce it. Ask the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hand over the 4 of them. Otherwise, they would be making an enemy out of the Dragon Palace. This area has been peaceful for too long. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he spoke to Prime Minister Gue. His Dragon Palace was no longer so easy to bully. Since they dared to participate in this, they would have to pay the price. The reason why he wanted them to hand over the 4 of them, the chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation, was to see their attitude. If they were determined to go their own way, then let's fight. It's the Dragon King. Prime Minister Gue immediately nodded and retreated. It had been a month since the last world-shaking battle. However, even after a month had passed, that battle still had a lot of heat. Especially not long ago, someone saw the 4 of them in the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. This basically confirmed that the Eastly Immortal Dynasty was involved in that battle. However, the Eastly Immortal Dynasty did not make any announcement, and the Dragon Palace also fell silent. This made many people guess that the Dragon Palace did not dare to completely offend the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. After all, as a dynasty with a long history of tens of millions of years, they had an immortal king level 4 powerhouse to oversee it. The foundation they had was much stronger than the Heaven Beast Corporation. The Dragon Palace was no match for the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. It was possible that the Dragon Palace would take it as if the Eastly Immortal Dynasty did not interfere. Quickly go to the main page of the Brain Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace has announced something. They actually asked the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hand over the 4 chairmen of the Heavenly Beast Corporation. What? How is this possible? The Dragon Palace did not take any action for a month. Why did they suddenly announce it? Is true this? They actually asked the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hand over the chairman and the other 3, or else the consequences would be at their own risk. This is a blatant threat. Crazy, this Dragon Palace is really crazy, directly asking the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hand over the people, or else the consequences would be at their own risk. This can be said to be a declaration of war. The Dragon Palace's announcement was like a huge rock on a calm lake. When everyone thought that the Dragon Palace was afraid of the Eastly dynasty and would pretend that this matter had never happened, the Dragon Palace actually made such an announcement. This was a blatant declaration of war. There was only one possibility that could be calmed down, and that was for the Eastly dynasty to hand over the four of them, but was it possible? The possibility was very small. Once the Eastly Immortal dynasty handed them over, it would be a huge blow to the Eastly dynasty's prestige. The announcement of the Dragon Palace war pet spread through the area at a terrifying speed. In less than half an hour, almost everyone watching the AI knew about this news. This caused the hundreds of thousands of life planets to shake. Will the Eastly dynasty start a war with the Dragon Palace? The Dragon Palace is no match for the Eastly dynasty. How dare they declare war so arrogantly? Some people were shocked. Arrogant. How dare they ask the Eastly dynasty to hand over the four chairmen of the Heavenly Beast group? Aha, does he really think that he can fight us with such strength? I haven't even prepared to fight with them, they actually dare to provoke us first. At this moment in the Eastly Immortal dynasty's palace on the Eastly planet, the Emperor God roared with a face full of dignity and disdain. Immediately announced the generals and ministers, the four of them. Chapter 2479 2479 Eastly Dynasty's Disregard. Reporting to the Divine Emperor. In the Eastly Dynasty's imperial study, one by one, important generals and ministers entered and called out respectfully. In the middle seat, the Divine Emperor leaned against a chair and gave them a faint signal. "Dear ministers, please wait a moment," the Divine Emperor said and gently sipped the tea on the table. The generals and ministers looked at each other, silently waiting on the side. "Emperor." 5 minutes later, 4 old men slowly walked in, looking at the Emperor before them, respectfully cupping their hands. "Hee, my 4 friends, please take a seat since we've invited you here today, I'm sure you already know some things." The Emperor looked at the 4, smiling as he said, "Emperor God, the Dragon Palace is extremely arrogant. They don't care about the Eastly Immortal dynasty at all. What do you plan to do?" The people who came were naturally the chairman of the Heavenly Beast Group, the leader of the Heavenly Tiger Sect, the leader of the Thousand Beast Hall, and the Ancient Beast Grandmaster. The 4 of them said expressionlessly, "What do you all want to do? The Dragon Palace wants to destroy the 4 of you." The Emperor smiled and said to them, "Is the Emperor going to hand us over?" The leader of the Sky Tiger Sect looked at him and said, "Our Eastly Immortal dynasty would not do such a thing. However, the Dragon Palace is trying to eradicate the 4 of you." The Emperor shook his head and said, "For leaders, although you are not weak as long as the Dragon Palace is here, it is impossible for you to rise again. Unless you go to other areas to survive." At this time, an important official added after the Emperor finished speaking. His words made the 4 of them look gloomy. They had already heard about the intelligence system. They did not expect the Dragon Palace to be so arrogant as to ask the Eastly Immortal dynasty to hand them over. The Dragon Palace wanted to offend the Eastly Immortal dynasty and kill them. And with just the Dragon Palace's strength, they were their match. They and the Dragon Palace could be said to be irreconcilable, and just like the official said, it would be difficult for them to make a comeback here. Unless they left, but where would they go? How could they be willing to leave? The 4 of them looked at each other, looking at the Emperor. "4 of you, what do you think? Join our Eastly Undying dynasty and be given 4 kings with different surnames, each taking control of a planet. If we capture that Dragon King in the future, the 4 of you are all beast-taming grandmasters. You will become the pillars of our Eastly Undying dynasty." The Emperor smiled and said to them. The 4 of them were silent. This wasn't the first time the Eastly dynasty had recruited them. A month ago they had also tried to recruit them, but they didn't agree. "Okay, but we have one condition, that Dragon King and the Dragon Palace must be destroyed." The 4 of them exchanged a few words in secret, slowly raising their heads and saying firmly, Okay, of course, with the 4 brothers joining us, destroying the Dragon Palace naturally won't be hard." The Emperor stood up and laughed loudly. "We welcome the 4 lords to join the Eastly dynasty." The officials and generals besides stood up and congratulated with smiles. Emperor, what should we do now?" The 4 of them cupped their hands and asked. "Everyone has seen the power of the Dragon Palace, 5 Undying Emperor Level 3 warriors. This organization isn't weak, it can be said to be very strong. If we want to destroy it, we'll have to pay a huge price." Recently we found a few powerful beast-taming grandmasters to help tame the 13 battle pets we bought from the Dragon Palace. We should be able to do so in another half a month. I wonder if the 10 battle pets in your hands have been tamed. Of course, since the Dragon Palace dares to challenge us so arrogantly, we naturally won't remain indifferent. The Emperor God smiled and looked at the 4 people. General Song. Yes, Your Majesty. Send someone to seal the Dragon Palace's pet shop on our East Lake planet. It's the Emperor God. He immediately ordered a general beside him. Prime Minister Li. Yes, Your Majesty. Send an order to all the forces to forbid the purchase of the Dragon Palace's pet shop. It's the Emperor. Another order was given and a Prime Minister nodded. Hee, for princes, our Eastly undying empire has stood here for over 10 million years. We'll let you all experience our strength and strength. The Emperor said to the 4, walking over and patting their shoulders. All right, let's see. The 4 of them smiled. Once they captured the Dragon King, it would be a huge opportunity for them. Emperor God, do we still need to announce it on the AI? An important official asked. Announce? This is the behavior of the weak. If the Dragon Palace is strong enough, they can send people over, hee. Emperor God shook his head, his eyes revealing a look of disdain. Currently, in the Eastly Immortal Dynasty, there were 5 level 3 Immortal King level experts. With the 4 of them joining, there were 9. Most importantly, there were level 4 Immortal King level experts. They now had more than 40 Immortal King level experts, and one of them was that they had a total of 16 Immortal King battle pets. Including the 10 of the Heaven Beast Corporation's chairman and the rest, they had 26. Their undying godly monarch experts had a total of more than 60. Adding on some other trump cards, their strength, even if they did not count the level 4 undying godly monarch experts, was double that of the Heaven Beast Corporation. With double strength, they could easily suppress the Dragon Palace. It's the God King. The officials immediately nodded. Right now, the most important thing is to find an opportunity to capture the Dragon King. He said indifferently, following which he waved his hand, informed the Eastly Undying God King, to welcome Chairman Du and the others to join our Eastly Undying God Dynasty. A ceremony will be held in 5 days. At the same time, Prime Minister Li, you will send out invitations to all the major powers. Yes. Everyone's hearts moved as they nodded. The group left. General Song led his underlings and immediately headed towards East Chi Planet. Through the teleportation formation, they quickly arrived at East Chi Planet's administrative office. The people from East Chi Planet had received the news and were already waiting here. The group of a few hundred people didn't hesitate at all as they flew straight towards the Dragon Palace pet shop. Seal it. They were very fast. When they arrived in front of the Dragon Palace pet shop, they attracted the attention of many people around them. General Song waved his hand at the people around him and said immediately, Yes, General. The people nodded and walked to the door of the Dragon Palace pet shop immediately. Bang! A middle-aged man waved his hand, and the plaque with the words, Dragon Palace Pet broke into 2 halves. The others immediately put a seal on it. Dragon Palace Pet Shop Seal. Chapter 2480. 2480 Dragon Palace Gift 1. This is? Around the Dragon Palace pets, some people were shocked as they looked at the seal on the shop. They looked at the card that had been destroyed. It's the Eastly Undying Dynasty. Everyone's expression changed when they saw the enforcers in the shop. The Eastly Undying Dynasty has sealed the shop. Is this a response to the Dragon Palace's words on the AI? Rumble, compared to the Dragon Palace, the Eastly Undying Dynasty is simply too strong. The surrounding people discussed softly, their faces filled with shock. And when General Song brought his men to the Dragon Palace's pet shop, Prime Minister Li represented the Eastly Undying Dynasty and began to pay a visit to the various powers. Saying he was paying a visit, it was actually a notification. Banning the purchase of Dragon Palace pets. Latest news, the Dragon Palace pet shop on East Lake Planet has been sealed. The Eastly Immortal Dynasty has sent people to seal it. Is this the Eastly Immortal Dynasty's response to the Dragon Palace? Sealing the Dragon Palace pet shop? They don't even care about it. Ever since the Dragon Palace announced it, the Eastly Immortal Dynasty hasn't responded at all, and now they've sealed the Dragon Palace pet shop. Not only did they seal the Dragon Palace's pet shop, The Eastly Undying Dynasty is now informing the various powers that they are prohibited from buying the Dragon Palace's pets. What? The Eastly Undying Dynasty is completely sealing the Dragon Palace's pets? Very quickly, the news spread to the AI at a terrifying speed. When everyone saw the news, they were all shocked. The Eastly Dynasty didn't announce anything, but their actions showed that they didn't care about the Dragon Palace at all. The Dragon Palace had only threatened them on the internet, and the Eastly Dynasty didn't say anything, immediately sealing their pets. With the Eastly Dynasty's position and power in this star field, they controlled the East Lake business planet. Who would dare to violate the Eastly Undying Dynasty's seal? Who would dare to buy war pets in the Eastly Immortal Dynasty in the future? No one would dare. Even if the Dragon Palace sold them at a lower price. Look at the main page of the Eastly Immortal Dynasty's computer. The Eastly Immortal Dynasty has announced something. At this moment, another piece of information caused a huge sensation. The announcement of the Eastly Immortal Dynasty had nothing to do with the Dragon Palace, but it had a lot to do with the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. The former chairman of the Heavenly Beast Group, the leader of the Heavenly Tiger Sect, the leader of the 10,000 Beast Hall, and the master of ancient beasts all announced that they had joined the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. The Eastly Immortal Dynasty would hold a ceremony in 5 days and invite all the major forces to come. For level 3 Eternal God Lords had joined, and they were all Master Beast Tamers. It was indeed worth it for the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hold a ceremony. When this news came out, everyone was in an uproar. What does the Eastly Immortal Dynasty mean? The Dragon Palace threatened them to hand it over, but in the end, all 4 of them joined the Eastly Immortal Dynasty and even became kings with different surnames. They even invited all the powers in the world to come and congratulate them 5 days later? This is a complete slap in the face, a blatant slap in the face. They don't put the Dragon Palace in their eyes at all. Chairman Du of the Heavenly Beast Group, the leader of the Heavenly Tiger Sect, the leader of the 10,000 Beast Hall, and the master of the ancient beast, all of them are influential figures in our region. If they join the Eastly Dynasty, the power of the Eastly Dynasty will be even more terrifying. Once the 4 of them join, the power of the Eastly Dynasty will increase by a lot. The announcement of the Dragon Palace is a slap to the face. If you steal the chicken, you will end up losing the rice. Countless people expressed their opinions on the AI. Everyone had some understanding of the power of the leader of the Heaven Beast Group and the Immortal Dynasty of the Eastly Dynasty. They even had some understanding of the power of the Dragon Palace in the last battle. Now that they looked at it, the gap between the Dragon Palace and the Eastly Dynasty was huge, especially with 4 top-tier experts joining the Eastly Dynasty. The threat of the Dragon Palace had now become a joke. Most importantly, the He-Dian 5 days later represented a piece of information. The forces that came to participate would definitely support the Eastly Dynasty. In other words, they promised the Eastly Dynasty that they would never buy the war pets of the Dragon Palace in the future. How many factions would participate in the event? Many people were almost certain that at least 90% of the factions in this region would participate in the event. With the strength of the Eastly Celestial Empire, no faction would dare to provoke them for no reason. This made many people realize that the Dragon Palace would be isolated in the future. As for whether they would be attacked by the Eastly Celestial Empire in the future, no one knew. Dragon King, this is what happened just now. At this moment, in the Dragon Palace on the Tianzi continent, Prime Minister Gui transmitted the news from the outside to Wang Xian immediately. Wang Xian didn't need Prime Minister Gui to relay the news. He had also seen the news from the AI. The Dragon Palace's pet shop has been sealed. The 4 of them from the Heaven Beast Corporation have joined the Eastly Dynasty. Interesting. The Eastly Dynasty doesn't put us in their eyes at all. However, from their point of view, they do have the right to not put us in their eyes. Wang Xian leaned back on the dragon throne, and his eyes were sparkling. Dragon King, in 5 days they will invite all the major forces to head over. At that time, almost all the powerhouses from the entire Eastly Immortal Celestial Empire will be here. When that time comes, Prime Minister Gui stood at the side and said softly to Wang Xian, I was still thinking about how to gather all the powerhouses from the Eastly Immortal Dynasty so that we can catch them all in one go. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly as a smile appeared on his face. This is indeed a good opportunity. Prime Minister Gui nodded his head. Buzz buzz buzz. At this moment, Wang Xian's brain started to tremble. Damn, Boss Wang, I'm going to be done for. Just now, the Prime Minister of the Eastly Immortal Dynasty came to our overlord and warned us. He told us to head to the Eastly planet in 5 days. Now, my master told me not to go out and not to look for you, Boss Wang. FUCK Boss Wang FUCK them. I'm so miserable. There are still a few God Kings in the Overlord sect who are unhappy with me. One of them is a level 2 Immortal God King. FUCK, I want to FUCK him to death. Sob, Boss Wang, I'm so pitiful. I'll sneak to the Tianzi continent to look for you in 2 days. Wang Xian opened his AI and saw a video sent to him by Invincible Battle Technique. In the video he was crying and wailing loudly. Wang Xian smiled when he saw him like this. His eyes were sparkling. Come over if you're all right. Wang Xian sent him a message and slowly leaned on the dragon chair. Get everyone in the Dragon Palace to prepare and get the Firehammer clan to create some black hole disturbance formations. He spoke to Prime Minister Gui slowly. Obviously, the Eastly dynasty knew that he had a good relationship with Invincible Battle Technique, so they threatened the Overlord sect. Some people in the Overlord sect were afraid that Invincible Battle Technique would implicate them, so they had a lot of opinions about him. It's the Dragon King. 5 days later, our Dragon Palace will send them a congratulatory gift. Prime Minister Gui said with a smile. Chapter 2481. 2481 2481 Congratulatory Gift 2 from the Dragon Palace. Boss Wang, I'm here. I'm at the Wall of Protection. There were still 3 days left until the ceremony of the Eastly dynasty in 5 days. Everything in the Dragon Palace was being prepared in an orderly manner. On this day, Invincible Battle Technique came to the Tianzi continent and immediately sent him a message. Wait there for a moment. Someone will come to pick you up very soon. Wang Xian received the message from Invincible Battle Technique and immediately sent a member of the Dragon Palace to pick him up. Boss Wang, your Dragon Palace is too luxurious. My goodness, is this your dragon throne? Do you have to be so domineering? Invincible Battle Technique followed a member of the Dragon Palace to the Dragon King's palace. He widened his eyes and looked around in shock. He had also entered his master's immortal nation. Compared to the Dragon Palace, the difference was simply too huge. How did you sneak out? Wang Xian looked at him with a smile and asked. Boss Wang, no matter what, I have the level 2 Immortal King battle pet that you gave me. Coupled with my master's identity, the rest of the Overlord sect still don't dare to imprison me. Invincible in Battle Technique smiled. Boss Wang, it seems that the Eastly dynasty is trying to deal with the Dragon Palace. I heard from my master that with the strength of the Eastly dynasty and the 4 people from the Heaven Beast group, the Dragon Palace is probably not their match. Boss Wang, you guys have to be careful. However, with our strength, it won't be easy for the Eastly dynasty to deal with the Dragon Palace. Then he continued. We don't have the strength to deal with the Eastly Immortal Dynasty yet. However, it's not certain if the Eastly dynasty will still exist in 5 days. Wang Xian said to him indifferently. He didn't hide anything. Although Invincible Battle Technique was unreliable, he was still very reliable. Huh? Boss Wang, what do you mean? Invincible Battle Technique looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. Nothing much. 3 days later, when the Eastly Immortal Dynasty's Hedian arrives, I'm prepared to give them a big gift. Wang Xian said with a smile. This? Invincible Battle Technique widened his eyes. How about it? Do you want to join in the fun? Wang Xian walked to his side and patted his shoulder with a smile. Gulp, Boss Wang, you're not joking, right? Are we really giving them a gift or a fake gift? Invincible Battle Technique opened his mouth slightly, and a trace of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. To be honest, he was also filled with fear towards the giant Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Looking at Boss Wang's intentions, he actually wanted to. What do you think? Wang Xian looked at him with a smile. Boss Wang, I'm invincible in combat techniques, not cowardice. I'm afraid that my master will beat me to death. Invincible in combat techniques had a bitter expression on his face. However, he quickly raised his eyebrows and asked, Boss Wang, are you confident? Would I do something that I'm not confident about? Wang Xian asked back. Then you can't leave me out of this. After all, Invincible Battle Technique is also an Immortal King level existence. Invincible Battle Technique rubbed his hands and said with a smile. Wang Xian looked at him and smiled. You should know about the bloodline in your body, right? Wang Xian's gaze landed on him as he sensed the powerful bloodline power. I know, Boss Wang. With the protection of my bloodline, I'm invincible in my battle techniques. I'm destined to become an invincible powerhouse who can roar the starry sky. Invincible in battle techniques opened his mouth and raised his head slightly as he said proudly. Your bloodline is very strong. Let me bring you to raise your strength. Wang Xian patted his shoulder and brought him into the dragon transformation pool. Boss Wang, you're the best. If I were a girl? Get lost. Boss Wang, I have a sister. Do you want to think about it? This sister of mine is not bad. Shut up. Wang Xian brought invincible battle technique to the location of the dragon transformation pool. There was still a lot of dragon blood in the dragon transformation pool. He looked at invincible battle technique that was glowing in his eyes. With a wave of his arm, he threw it directly into the pool. Absorb the energy inside and come out when you reach level 1 Immortal King. I will prepare an immortal kingdom for you. Wang Xian said to him calmly. Wow, this is so awesome. Very soon, invincible battle techniques shrieks rang out. Wang Xian ignored him and asked Prime Minister Gue to send someone to watch him as he walked into the Dragon King's palace. The level of the bloodline in invincible battle technique was extremely high. It was so high that if he didn't lose it midway, it would be enough for him to become a top powerhouse in the universe. Furthermore, he was Wang Xian's only friend in this resplendent region. It was fine to help him a little. Just as invincible battle technique was immersed in cultivating in the dragon transformation pool. In the outside world, the news of the chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation and the rest joining the Eastly Immortal Dynasty was spreading like wildfire. More and more news came from the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. For example, the 4 chairmen of the Heavenly Beast Corporation were given the title of kings with different surnames, each of them controlling a planet. For example, the Eastly Immortal Dynasty would establish a war pet shop, which would be led by the 4 of them. Especially the establishment of a war pet shop, which would be a blatant enemy of the Dragon Palace's war pets. The day of Hedian was getting closer and closer, and on the AI, there were news every day that a certain force was going to the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to attend the ceremony. Over 100,000 human planets, over 104th and 5th tier powers, there are already over 10 that are prepared to attend the ceremony. This time at least 90% of the powers of the Eastly Undying Dynasty will go, or even more. This is obviously a surrender. Anyone who doesn't attend this ceremony will definitely be considered to be related to the Dragon Palace. That's right, from this ceremony, we can basically determine the situation between the Eastly Undying Dynasty and the Dragon Emperor. There's no need to fight? The Dragon Palace cannot compare to the Eastly Dynasty at all. On the AI, the ceremony this time caused countless discussions. Reporting to the Emperor, 4th and 5th level powers have a total of 35, 23 have already arrived, and they have also replied that they will arrive early tomorrow. At the same time, within the Eastly Undying God Dynasty, Prime Minister Li was smiling as he reported to Emperor. HM as expected. Emperor nodded indifferently. Emperor, the Iron Blood Alliance hasn't replied yet. However, at this time, Prime Minister Li frowned and said, Iron Blood Alliance. Emperor's eyes gleamed, as the overlords of this region, they had already received news of the Iron Blood Alliance. They were extremely shocked by the strength of the Iron Blood Alliance. Now, they didn't place the Dragon Palace in their eyes, but they placed the Iron Blood Alliance in their eyes. The Iron Blood Alliance has the threat of the Beast Park. We don't need to take it to heart. After a long while, the Emperor God shook his head and waved his hand at him to leave. Prime Minister Li bowed and left. 5 days passed very quickly. Early in the morning on the 5th day, Wang Xian was standing in the sky above the sea of the Tianzi continent. Behind him stood a group of experts from the Dragon Palace. A terrifying aura soared into the sky. Boss Wang, wait for me. Haha, I'm invincible in combat techniques. Chapter 2482. 2482 Dragon Palace's Congratulatory Gift 3. Above the underground sea Dragon Palace of Tianzi continent. Wang Xian stood in the air. Beside him, Ao Crab, Ao Qitian, Ao Yao, Ao Qi, Ao Xingmu, Muzisin and Prime Minister Gui stood behind him. The Dragon Palace's strength was not fully revealed. Initially, they were not prepared to reveal it directly, to prevent the Eastly Undying from fleeing in fear. At this time, the invincible battle technique's voice rang out. It flew out from the ocean and gave off a powerful aura. Resplendent laws surrounded his entire body and he was in high spirits, filled with excitement. Haha, Boss Wang, luckily I broke through in time and caught up. Invincible Battle Technique opened his mouth and flew towards Wang Xian. In the past few days, Invincible Battle Technique had absorbed enough dragon blood and his strength had risen to the Immortal King level. With the Immortal King level in the Dragon Palace, he didn't even need to build the Immortal King level. The current him was an expert in this region. Most importantly, he had a powerful bloodline in his body. Even though he had just broken through, his influence wasn't weak. At the very least, he was not weaker than his ancestor, Mo Hen. To be able to reach the Immortal King realm at the age of less than 1,000 years old with invincible battle techniques was a very shocking thing in the entire starry sky. Let's go, the distance is not close. Wang Xian looked at the excited invincible battle techniques and said with a smile. Hee, let's go, well, boss. Today, let's destroy the Dong Li Immortal Dynasty and let them know how powerful I am. When we make our move later, hand over a dozen undying level 1 warriors to me. Invincible said proudly and proudly. To be able to rise from Eternal God Lord level 5 to Undying level 1 in just a few days, this was something he had never thought of before. He wasn't even 1,000 years old, yet he was already so powerful. Wouldn't that mean he could dominate the entire universe in the future? Of course, this was just his wishful thinking. He knew that the main reason he could advance this time was Boss Wang's help. Even if he had the bloodline, without that powerful energy and the immortal god country that Boss Wang had prepared for him, he would need at least a few thousand years to advance to level 1 Immortal King. Alright, I'll leave it to you then. I'll leave it to a dozen level 1 Immortal King powerhouses. Wang Xian smiled. His invincible battle technique was not bad, but he had a level 2 Immortal King level battle pet. He could really deal with more than a dozen level 1 Immortal King level powerhouses. Let's go. He continued to speak and flew towards the protective wall. There was a long-distance teleportation formation that Xian Tianzi was preparing for the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, are you guys going? Do you need our help? When Wang Xian and the rest arrived, they saw Xian Tianzi, Mo Hen, and the experts from the Federation. Everyone seemed to have understood the situation as well. Looking at Wang Xian and the rest, they frowned and asked. There's no need. Some matters can be resolved by the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian shook his head at them. Be careful. If necessary, we can take action. Xian Tianzi looked at Wang Xian with a complicated expression. Not long ago, the young man in front of him had come to the Tianzi continent to seek refuge with him. Now, he had grown to an existence that could contend with the overlord of this region. This made him feel extremely complicated. At the same time, he had some vague guesses. There's no need, everyone. Our Dragon Palace can still settle some small matters. Wang Xian smiled at them. This. Then be careful, Dragon King. Xian Tianzi and the rest nodded slightly. They knew that even with their help, it wouldn't be of much use. Invincible you. At the side, Battle Tactics Mo Hen noticed that his battle tactics were invincible. He frowned and shouted. Haha, wait here. My invincible battle tactics will soon be known throughout the entire region. At that time, more than 100,000 human life planets will know that my battle tactics are invincible. Very soon the entire space will also hear about my invincible battle technique. Invincible battle technique looked at the old ancestor, the corners of his mouth curled up as he said confidently. You punk, don't think that just because the Dragon King gave you an undying level 2 battle pet, you think you're so great. Mo Hen stared at him and said softly. Humph. Invincible battle technique snorted, Old ancestor, don't look down on me, don't you see who I'm with? As he spoke, he flicked his finger and a law fragment flew towards the crotch of Invincible Battle Technique Mo Hen. Invincible Battle Technique Mo Hen's face turned black as he blocked the law fragment with his palm. Alright, I'm leaving with Boss Wang. Let the people from the land of Battle Technique pay attention to the AI. As Invincible Battle Technique spoke, he followed behind Wang Xian and headed towards the teleportation formation. This. All of a sudden he stretched out his hand to catch Invincible Battle Technique's ink mark. He stared at the substantial law fragment in his hand and his eyes were filled with shock. It was as if he didn't hear Invincible Battle Technique's words. His gaze was fixed on the fragment. This is. Xian Tianzi, who was standing at the side, also noticed the substantial law fragment in his hand. Fatty Jean Fa, congratulations. Your Zhan Fa clan is about to rise up. Shan Tianzi said with some envy. Ah, good. Is this the Dragon King's help? Zhan Famo Hen could not help but tremble. His face was filled with excitement. His Zhan Fa clan actually produced another immortal godly king. Furthermore, it was an immortal godly king who was so young that he was a little freakish. Wang? At the side, Wang Xian and the rest stepped into the teleportation formation and slowly disappeared. Howl. However, at this moment, in a distant space, 5 flame undying god king war pets that were covered in flame laws were flying in the air. On their bodies there were 5 figures. Each figure was emitting a vast pressure, flying in the air like meteors. The flames streaked past, passing by an incomparably huge universe beast garden. That was the Luo Man Beast Garden, 5 people and 5 powerful battle pets, flying towards the direction of the Iron Blood God Dynasty. We pay our respects to the emissary of the Raging Flame God Dynasty. At the front line of the Iron Blood Alliance, over 10 silhouettes stood there, of which the elder of the Raging Flame Undying Dynasty and a few youths were beside them. Emperor Yang. The 5 flame undying warriors nodded at them, looking at the old man beside them and shouting. Ichim, I heard that the emperor has an important matter. The old man looked at the 5 and asked curiously. It's Emperor Yang, everyone from the Iron Blood Alliance, we are willing to send people to help you, however we need one condition. The 5 warriors on undying emperor mounts looked at the Iron Blood Alliance members. What? The Raging Flame Empire is willing to help us? The moment they finished speaking, everyone from the Iron Blood Alliance was excited, their eyes burning with passion. What condition? We Iron Blood Alliance will do our best. Chapter 2483. 2483 Dragon Palace's congratulatory gift for. In front of the Lorman Desolate Beast Park, the members of the Iron Blood Alliance stared at the 5 members of the Blazing Flame Divine Dynasty with shock and excitement. It had not been a day or two since they had sought help from the Blazing Flame Divine Dynasty. Even if one of the princes of the Blazing Flame Divine Dynasty had come, they still had not agreed to come and support them. But this time, the Blazing Flame Divine Dynasty had actually proposed a condition to support them. As long as they didn't pay too heavy a price, they would agree. The conditions are very simple. The 5 of them stared at the Iron Blood Alliance leader. With a wave of their arms, an image appeared beside them. Kill this person in your area. Once he's killed, we agree to help you. If it weren't for the fact that our Raging Flame God Dynasty is too far away from this place, we wouldn't have asked you to attack us. Someone in the middle said, pointing at the figure in the picture. This is. The members of the Iron Blood Alliance looked over and saw the figure in the picture, and their faces changed slightly. This is the Dragon King. The faces of all the members of the Iron Blood Alliance changed. It was the Dragon King. The Dragon King who helped the Iron Blood Alliance when they were in danger. He was their benefactor. Now, the Blazing Flame Divine Dynasty's condition was to destroy the Dragon King and then help them. This made everyone's heart sink. It's him, grandfather. It's that damn fellow. At the side, a few youths saw the person in the picture and shouted with an embarrassed expression. N? The old man also slowly nodded. His most precious weapon had been destroyed by him. Oh, Emperor Yang knows him? A Flame God Dynasty warrior raised his eyebrows and asked. Yes, he has over 10 undying emperors under him, he should be strong in this region. Emperor Yang nodded. We have some simple information about him. Dragon Palace Dragon King, he has 5 undying level 3 warriors under him. Undying level 1 and 2 are unknown, he should have some powerful battle pets. Right now, his relationship with the Eastly Undying Dynasty is very tense. The person we want to kill is him. An elder from the Burning Sun Dynasty looked at the Iron Blood Alliance and said. This caused the expressions of the Iron Blood Alliance members to change. Envoys, can we ask how this Dragon Emperor offended you? The Iron Blood Alliance leader's expression changed as he asked them. Oh, you're not willing to do such a simple thing? Upon hearing the Iron Blood Alliance's words, several experts from the Blazing Sun Dynasty were slightly surprised. According to their previous requests to their side, the other party would immediately agree to such a request. Now they were actually hesitating and wanted to ask the specific reason. Boss. At this moment, the words of Lord Yang rang in their ears. Oh? Hearing his words, the eyes of the 5 people of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty flickered. Everyone of the Iron Blood Alliance, we can tell you the truth. Our Raging Flame Divine Dynasty has never met that Dragon King, nor do we have any grudges. It's a lord in the center who wants to kill him. That lord has spoken, and that Dragon King will die without a doubt. Even if you don't make a move, our Raging Flame Divine Dynasty will destroy him by other means. Iron Blood Alliance, give us an answer as soon as possible. The old man from the Raging Flame Dynasty in the center said slowly, Lord from the Central Region. Everyone from the Iron Blood Alliance was slightly shocked. There was only one force that could be called the Lord of the Central Region. And that was the Imperial Court. I'll immediately contact the patriarchs of our Iron Blood Alliance. The Iron Blood Alliance master pursed his lips and immediately sent an urgent message. All along, the Iron Blood Alliance's biggest wish was that the Raging Flame Dynasty agreed to help them. Now that the other party had agreed, they had to kill their benefactor. This was an ungrateful thing. He could not make the decision between the two. Buzz buzz buzz. Soon, in less than a minute, 3 figures appeared at the side. The 3 arrived and cupped their hands toward the people of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty. Everyone of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty, give us 5 minutes to discuss. An old man said in a deep voice. Yes. The people of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty nodded indifferently. Great-grandfather, will the people of the Iron Blood Alliance agree? You should know that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace helped them a lot not long ago. At the side, a youth looked at the members of the Iron Blood Alliance who had flown to the side and asked Lord Yang. The Iron Blood Alliance has always been threatened by the Lorman Desolate Beast Park. Even if they are the strongest in a region, they have always been fighting to survive. They will agree because I can feel that in order to live a better life, they will do things that they could not do in the past. The corners of King Yang's mouth curled up slightly, and a smile appeared on his face. He had never thought that the Dragon King who had broken his divine weapon would be killed by a lord in the Central Region. This was also very satisfying for him. Patriarch, that Dragon King helped us not long ago. This time we... At the side, the Alliance Master of the Iron Blood Alliance opened his mouth slightly and looked at the 3 strongest experts of their alliance. Our Iron Blood Alliance is not a heartless person who will repay kindness with enmity. An elder shook his head, his face full of hesitation. But we have to think about the hundreds of billions of people of the Iron Blood Alliance. Anyway, Lord Central wants to kill him, so the Dragon King is already a dead man. The difference is who will kill him. As soon as the Patriarch finished his words, another Patriarch opened his mouth and said slowly. The rest of the people sank into silence for a few seconds. After all, this is the only chance for our Iron Blood Alliance in millions of years. The leader of the Iron Blood Alliance also sighed slowly. We will always remember the favor of the Dragon King. But for the sake of our Iron Blood Alliance, we have to act. The last Patriarch looked at the people around him and said solemnly. Agreed. Even if we don't agree, the Dragon King won't live for long. For the sake of the Iron Blood Alliance, we agree. Our Iron Blood Alliance is clearly the strongest existence in this area, but now it's not as comfortable as many 4th or 5th-rate forces. I've had enough of this kind of fearful life. Beside them, the old men nodded. Since that's the case, call all the warriors of our Iron Blood Alliance back for a discussion. The Iron Blood Alliance leader said. It's the Alliance leader, the 2 deputy Alliance leaders should be in the Eastly Undying Empire right now. They were prepared to show off their strength to see if they could recruit some organizations. Should we call them back too? An old man said. We don't need that. After we discuss it, we'll inform the 2 deputy Alliance leaders. They should still need to investigate some news. The Iron Blood Alliance leader thought for a while, shaking his head. After they discussed the situation, they would immediately come up with a plan and inform the 2 deputy Alliance leaders. Chapter 2484. 2484 Dragon Palace's Congratulatory Gift 5. It's the Alliance Master. The members of the Iron Blood Alliance nodded and looked at the members of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty. Then they extended their hands and made an inviting gesture. We agree to the conditions. We'll talk about the specific situation inside. The Iron Blood Alliance Master said with a smile. Haha, good. The 5 members of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty laughed with satisfaction on their faces. Beside them, Emperor Yang and the group of youths all had smiles in their eyes. At the same time, on Eastly Planet, in front of the palace was a huge plaza. The Dian ceremony was held at noon. On both sides of the huge plaza, there were rows and rows of soldiers lined up neatly. There were a total of 200,000 to 300,000 soldiers. The weakest of them were at the Eternal God Lord level. They were all dressed in the same uniform, standing there with their heads held high. In the huge plaza, there was a stone platform in front of them. The entire plaza was filled with an atmosphere and vastness. Within the plaza, there were already many people from the Eastly Undying Empire coming over to watch the ceremony. From time to time, there would be many powers leading at least a few hundred disciples into the plaza. In this area, there were over 1,000 powers of all sizes, of which there were over 304th and 5th level powers. There was still an hour before noon. Close to 304th and 5th level powers had gathered in the huge plaza. Almost all the powerful powers in this area have arrived. The influence of the Eastly Undying Dynasty is still huge. When the celebration begins, all the powers should be here. After all, the Eastly Immortal Dynasty has stood in this starry sky for tens of millions of years. They have a deep foundation. How can a single dragon palace provoke them? The dragon palace is very strong, but compared to the Eastly Immortal Dynasty, they are still far behind. Some of the disciples of the factions glanced around and discussed with shocked faces. The Dragon Palace shamelessly announced on the AI that they would ask the Eastly Immortal Dynasty to hand over the 4 leaders of the Heaven Beast group. In the end, the Eastly Dynasty held today's celebration. Almost all the forces in the area were present, slapping the face of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace's announcement was just a joke. More and more forces arrived, and the number of people in the square also increased. Soon it reached a few million people. The sun was high up in the sky, and the time of noon soon arrived. At the front, many experts of the Eastly Dynasty appeared. Seeing the experts from the Easternly Dynasty coming over, the entire plaza gradually quieted down. The Easternly Emperor is here. Not long after, a voice rang out. Some people looked forward, and at the very front, the Easternly Emperor slowly walked over with a different gaze. Beside the Easternly Emperor, there were 4 elders. At this moment, the Easternly Emperor was dressed in a dragon robe, and the 4 elders were dressed in python robes. Only the Eastly Dynasty's Emperor-level experts had the right to wear this kind of clothing. Its chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation, the Sky Tiger Sect Master, the Myriad Beast Hall's Hall Master, and the Ancient Beast Grandmaster. In a corner of the square, the Overlord Sect Master was seated in the front, looking at the 4 people who had appeared on the stage, muttering to himself. Those were experts who were even more brilliant than him, Beast Tamer Grandmasters. Their statuses were much more honorable than his Overlord Sect Master. The Eastly Divine Dynasty is so powerful. With such power, Sect Leader, it's best to let the invincible young master contact the Dragon King. That's right, Sect Leader. If we are implicated, our millions of years of foundation will be destroyed. Beside him, 2 old men said softly. The Overlord Sect Leader frowned slightly, not saying a word. Back then, when his disciple had gotten a level 2 Undying God King War Pet from the Dragon King, he didn't have so much sarcasm. Greetings, Eastly Emperor. Right at this time, Eastly Emperor came to the center, looking down at everyone in front of him. A group of warriors stood up, cupping their hands and shouting. Even though many of them were on the same level as Eastly Emperor, their status was much higher than anyone present. A salute was worthy of everyone's respect. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm sorry, everyone from the Easternly Celestial Empire. Our Ironblood Alliance is a little late. However, just as everyone finished speaking, a voice suddenly sounded. At the entrance, more than 10 middle-aged elders were walking over. Oh. The Ironblood Alliance is also here. Everyone was slightly surprised, and their faces were full of astonishment. At the front, Eastly Divine Emperor was also surprised to see the Ironblood Alliance coming over. Haha, it's not too late. It's the honor of our Eastly Dynasty for the Ironblood Alliance to be here. Eastly Divine Emperor welcomed them with enthusiasm, and his attitude surprised all the forces around him. Oh, the Easternly Celestial Emperor. The Ironblood Alliance has actually come. This is truly unexpected. However, what about the Easternly Celestial Emperor's attitude? Everyone was slightly shocked. They were somewhat surprised by the Easternly Celestial Emperor's attitude and his words. Was it the Easternly Celestial Empire's honor? To be able to say such words, it was usually the weaker ones who would say such words to the stronger ones. Wasn't the Ironblood Alliance weaker than the Eastly dynasty? Everyone this way please. Eastly Celestial Emperor led the 2 vice presidents of the Ironblood Alliance to the front. That seat was where the experts of the Eastly dynasty were sitting. The other forces were not qualified to sit there. Ironblood Alliance. Chairman Du and the others of the Heaven Beast Corporation were also slightly puzzled when they saw the Celestial Emperor treating the Ironblood Alliance so warmly. Celestial Emperor Dongli is too polite. The 2 Vice Alliance Masters of the Ironblood Alliance smiled and cupped their hands. Everyone please take a seat. Celestial Emperor Dongli extended his hand politely and gestured for them to take a seat. Then he turned around and walked to the center of the table again. Welcome to the celebration ceremony of the 4 princes of our Eastly Celestial dynasty today. We are also grateful to the major forces for giving face to our Eastly Celestial dynasty. He stood at the front and cupped his hands towards everyone with a smile on his face. Taking advantage of today, we will introduce the 4 princes of our Eastly Immortal dynasty with different surnames. At the same time, they will be the 4 leaders of our Eastly battle pets in the future. I believe that all of you have some understanding of the 4 Beast Tamer Grandmasters. I hope that all the major powers will take good care of the Eastly Battle Pets shop in the future. The Easternly Divine Emperor extended his hand and gestured to the chairman of the Heaven Beast group before continuing. The 4 of them slowly came to the 2 sides of the Easternly Divine Emperor. They raised their heads slightly and wore faint smiles on their faces. Don't worry, Easternly Divine Emperor, we will definitely support you. That's right, we will definitely support you. The leaders of the various factions below immediately voiced their agreement. This made Emperor Dongli, who was on the stage, look satisfied. Why did it start so soon? Sorry we're late. The Dragon Palace is here to send a congratulatory gift. Suddenly, a voice sounded from the entrance. The Dragon Palace was here. Chapter 2485. 2485 Dragon Palace vs. Eastly Dynasty 1. Why is it starting so soon? Sorry we are late. The Dragon Palace is here to send a congratulatory gift. The sudden voice and sudden laughter resounded throughout the entire square, causing everyone's faces to be filled with astonishment. In front of them, Emperor Dongli, who was standing in the middle of the stage, paused for a moment. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked in the direction of the entrance. The experts and disciples from all the other forces were also slightly shocked. They turned their heads around in shock and astonishment. At the entrance, Wang Xian walked over with a smile on his face. Prime Minister Gue Qitian and the rest were standing on the left and right beside him. Invincible Battle Technique was also standing on the right. He held his head high and puffed out his chest. He was looking around excitedly. This area was filled with all the top forces in this area. From today onward, his name of Invincible Battle Technique would shake the entire starry sky. Thinking about this, Invincible Battle Techniques was extremely excited. See, Dragon Palace Dragon King actually brought people here, to send gifts? What do you mean, Dragon Palace Dragon King actually dared to come here and even said he wanted to send gifts? Is he trying to ease relations with the Eastly Undying Empire? What are they here for? This is the headquarters of the Eastly Undying Empire. There are only a dozen of them. Some forces saw Dragon King leading a dozen disciples over, their faces filled with shock. This time, almost all the warriors of the entire Eastly Undying Empire had come. And the dozen or so people from the Dragon Palace, were they here to ease the relationship and send gifts, or for what? Shit, Invincible in battle is mixed up with Dragon King again. In the Overlord Sect's position, the Undyings looked at Invincible Fighter with high morale, their expressions changed. Invincible Fighter was their Overlord Sect's disciple, the Overlord Sect leader's disciple. He could represent the entire Overlord Sect. Now that he was with the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King, the Overlord Sect would definitely be considered to be on the Dragon Palace's side. If the Eastly Undying Dynasty tried to cause trouble for them, they would be finished. If he comes with the Dragon King to cause trouble, our Overlord Sect will be in trouble too. Another elder said with a gloomy face. Calm down. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace didn't come here to cause trouble on purpose. They don't have the ability to do so. The Overlord Sect leader roared softly. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace wouldn't be so stupid as to cause trouble here. The other experts of the Overlord sect had gloomy faces and didn't say anything else. Regardless of whether the Dragon Palace was here to send a congratulatory gift or something else, their Overlord sect would be affected if they were to stand with the Dragon King. It's the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, our benefactor. At this moment, the two Vice Alliance leaders of the Iron Blood Alliance who were sitting at the front were slightly stunned when they saw Wang Xian. Dragon King, how dare you come here? At this moment, a voice filled with killing intent rang out. On both sides of the Emperor God, the chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation, the sect leader of the Heaven Tiger sect, the hall leader of the Thousand Beast Hall, and Grandmaster Palea Beast were staring at Wang Xian with bloodshot eyes as they clenched their fists tightly. Send a gift? Hehe, your Dragon Palace was so arrogant not long ago and asked us to hand over the 4 princes. Now they're sending a gift? What? Do you want to submit or beg for mercy? The Emperor God of the Eastly Dynasty gestured to the 4 of them to calm down. He stared at Wang Xian and the rest, raised his head slightly and asked coldly, "Submit and beg for mercy?" Hehe, we are not here to submit and beg for mercy. Wang Xian smiled when he heard his words. Dragon King, as an outsider you have to honor the owner of this place. Otherwise you will regret it. As soon as he finished his sentence, an old man at the side spoke to Wang Xian calmly. Oh. Wang Xian heard a voice from the right. He raised his eyebrows and turned to stare at him. Hehe. The old man also looked at Wang Xian and smiled contemptuously. They were also a 4th-rate force and had the strength of a level 3 immortal king. Originally, their force had a very good relationship with the Eastly Dynasty. At this moment, when he opened his mouth to speak, he was basically flattering them. However, this flattery was worth it. They were not afraid of the Dragon Palace either. In their opinion, the Dragon Palace was much weaker than the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. If they relied on the Eastly Dynasty, why would they be afraid of them? Dragon King, this is not a place where you can be impudent. That's right, why don't you take a look at what this place is? Just as the old man finished his words, a few voices echoed from the side. They were all powerhouses from 4th-rate forces. They stared at Wang Xian and the rest without any fear on their faces. I'm talking to the Eastly Immortal Emperor. You'd better shut up and don't bring fire upon yourself. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the various factions who had spoken. His eyes were filled with a cold murderous intent. Arrogant. Arrogant fellow. When the few of them heard Wang Xian's words, their faces were filled with anger. Dragon King, looks like all of you are here to cause trouble. You are here to disrupt our celebration ceremony. On the stage, the Emperor of Dongli narrowed his eyes and stared at Wang Xian as he spoke coldly. It seems that Emperor Dongli, you are not stupid. Don't tell me that I am really here to send you a congratulatory gift? Hehe. Wang Xian looked at him and shrugged his shoulders as he mocked him. Hua hua hua. Boom. Dragon King, you are courting death. As soon as Wang Xian finished his sentence, everyone from the Eastly Celestial Empire stood up with a loud bang. 200,000 to 300,000 soldiers on both sides locked onto Wang Xian. In an instant, their aura soared into the sky. The 4 chairmen of the Heaven Beast Corporation, who were suppressing their killing intent, erupted with a terrifying pressure. This? Is the Dragon Palace here to cause trouble? Are they here to cause trouble on purpose? What is the Dragon King trying to do? They are no match for the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Everyone was slightly shocked as they watched the sudden change of events with some shock. This is bad. At the Overlord's position, the expressions of the warriors changed. The Dragon King and the others were really here to cause trouble. Invincible had followed them, this was totally trapping them in. Invincible, get your ass over here right now. An Overlord warrior couldn't help but shout at Invincible. He didn't dare to transmit his voice as the stronger ones could sense it. This would cause the people of the Eastly Undying Dynasty to misunderstand. Huh? Invincible was stunned when he heard the leader's words. Elder, this is my invincible battle, it has nothing to do with the Overlord. He frowned and said directly. You are harming our Overlord, you don't even know life and death, don't drag us down even if you want to die. The elder couldn't help but shout. No one dares to be impudent in the territory of our Eastly Immortal Empire. At this moment, the voice of the Eastly Immortal Emperor rang out. Boom boom boom. In the next moment, immortal kings surrounded Wang Xian and the rest. There were nearly 30 immortal kings locked onto them. Chapter 2486. 2486 2486 Dragon Palace vs. Eastli Dynasty 2. A towering aura rose up. In the Hejian Square in front of the Eastli Dynasty Palace, the atmosphere instantly froze. Nearly 30 immortal godly monarchs of the Eastli Dynasty surrounded Wuxia and the rest. Their auras locked onto them. The battle could erupt at any time. Hee hee. Wuxia glanced at the immortal godly monarchs surrounding him and the rest. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. Dragon King, the territory of the Eastli Immortal Empire, is also a place where you can come and go as you please. Is it also a place where you can create trouble here? The Immortal King walked forward slowly and stared at Wuxia with a cold gaze. At the same time he had a thought. Behind him, an old man's eyes flickered and he immediately left quietly. Regarding the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, even if the Dragon King did not come this time, the Eastli Immortal Empire would still think of a way to capture him. Today the Dragon King's arrival was completely out of his expectations. However, since he was here there was no need to leave. If he left alone, he would immediately inform the forefather. If he wanted to keep the Dragon King and his underlings, he would need the Eastli Dynasty's undying level 4 God King to suppress them. Shit, there might be a fight coming. On the Hejian field, all the forces saw this scene and their expressions changed. Their pupils contracted and they stood up immediately. Some of the leaders immediately ordered their disciples to be on guard and ready to retreat. Damn it, what is this Dragon King trying to do? What is this invincible battle doing? The warriors of the Overlord sect saw this scene and their hearts jumped, their expressions ugly. If they were to cause trouble for the Overlord sect after destroying the Dragon Palace, what could the Overlord sect do to stop them? Their foundation that had existed for millions of years would be destroyed in an instant. This is. At the front, the two deputy chiefs of the Iron Blood Alliance frowned slightly when they saw this scene. They looked at each other and stood up slowly. Stop. One of the deputy chiefs of the Iron Blood Alliance shouted coldly and flew to the front of Wuxia and the rest. They seemed to be from the Iron Blood Alliance. Wuxia was slightly stunned. When he saw the group of figures flying over, he raised his eyebrows slightly. Deputy chiefs, may I know who they are? At the front, the Emperor God's expression changed slightly. He looked at the two of them in puzzlement. Dragon King. The two of them ignored the Emperor God and landed in front of Wuxia and the rest. They cupped their hands. Oh, you two vice presidents, right? Hello. Wuxia looked at them and nodded slightly. Dragon King, are you in trouble? Don't worry, you are the benefactor of the Iron Blood Alliance. With us around, no one would dare to do anything to you in this area. A deputy chief said directly to Wuxia. What? The Iron Blood Alliance and the Eastli Immortal Dynasty are in cahoots? But this Iron Blood Alliance has such a big tone. The Iron Blood Alliance has never been involved in the affairs of various forces. The main reason they are here today is to support the Dragon Palace? I initially thought that they were invited by the Eastli Immortal Dynasty. I didn't expect that they are here to help the Dragon Palace. Is this the preparation that the Dragon Palace has long made? If the Iron Blood Alliance supports the Dragon Palace, that's hard to say. After all, the Iron Blood Alliance is one of the top in our region, and from their attitude just now, they were a little too enthusiastic. The Iron Blood Alliance's sudden move shocked everyone. They all looked over. Iron Blood Alliance, you all? At this moment, Eastli Emperor's pupils contracted, his expression extremely serious. Iron Blood Alliance members, this is the grudge between our Eastli Undying God Dynasty and the Dragon Palace. It's not good for you to interfere, right? He said with a dark expression to the Iron Blood Alliance members. We don't care about anything else. The Dragon Palace is our Iron Blood Alliance's benefactor. The Dragon King's matter is our matter. Eastli God Dynasty, we still have to warn you with our Iron Blood Alliance here, you cannot touch the Dragon King Dragon Palace. The two deputy alliance masters said without any mercy. Your Iron Blood Alliance shouldn't go too far. Eastli Divine Emperor's expression started to change as he gritted his teeth and said in a low voice. Eastli Divine Emperor, they're an Iron Blood Alliance. Do you think we're afraid of them? At the side, the four of them, the chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation, saw the two Iron Blood Deputy Alliance Masters' strong expressions and their expressions changed slightly as they roared in a low voice. Then why don't you ask the Eastli Celestial Empire if they dare to offend our Iron Blood Alliance? The two Iron Blood Alliance's vice presidents snorted lightly and raised their heads slightly to stare at everyone from the Eastly Celestial Empire, not putting them in their eyes at all. They had 3 Undying God King level 4 experts, and their strength was much stronger than the Eastly Celestial Empire. This was also the reason why the Eastly Celestial Emperor was so warm to them and even somewhat respectful towards them. What? The experts of the Iron Blood Alliance have such big words. Is the Iron Blood Alliance stronger than the Eastly Divine Dynasty? It's really possible. Look at how embarrassed the Eastly Divine Emperor is. He didn't refute at all. The surrounding forces were shocked when they saw this scene. So, this is the reason why the Dragon Palace came today. Some people murmured. The experts from the Overlord sect heaved a sigh of relief. Everyone from the Iron Blood Alliance, thank you for your kindness. Our Dragon Palace doesn't need. Wang Xian, who was standing at the side, was stunned. He didn't expect the Iron Blood Alliance to stop the Eastly Dynasty directly. His congratulatory gift today was a war. There was no need for the Iron Blood Alliance to make a move. Dragon King, our Iron Blood Alliance can still help you with this matter. We will never forget your kindness. However, before Wang Xian could finish his sentence, the 2 Vice Alliance leaders interrupted him and waved their hands with a smile. Oh, is the Iron Blood Alliance really going to interfere in this matter? However, at this moment, a voice suddenly came from the sky. The warriors of the Eastly Undying Dynasty were shocked when they heard this voice. We pay our respects to Great Emperor. We pay our respects to Great Emperor. The group of Undying Emperors immediately bowed to a figure in the sky. The old man was incredibly tall and sturdy, holding a dragon head walking stick in his hand. He frowned as he looked at the Iron Blood Alliance Deputy Alliance leaders. I'm sorry, the Dragon Palace has done the Iron Blood Alliance a favor. The 2 Vice Alliance leaders looked at the old man and said, Alright, help me send my regards to the 3 ancestors of the Iron Blood Alliance. The old man clenched his fists and said softly to them, This? The expressions of the Eastly Undyings all changed. Their great emperor ancestor was submitting. The 3 ancestors of the Iron Blood Alliance, do they have 3 Undying level 4 warriors? Hiss, no wonder the Dragon Palace has such backing. The Dragon Palace is so arrogant, it's because of the Iron Blood Alliance. All the powers were shocked within, their faces filled with shock. Good. Ichem? One of the Deputy Alliance leaders nodded. However, at this time, a communication stone tablet on his body shook as he scanned the contents. His expression changed. Chapter 2487. 2487 Dragon Palace vs. Eastly Dynasty 3. We've already informed the 2 Vice Alliance leaders. This time they'll head over to the Eastly Undying Dynasty. We can let them directly join forces with the Eastly Dynasty. We'll provide some support. Maybe in the end we won't even need to do anything, and the Dragon King will be killed. Okay, according to the information on the AI, the Dragon King and the Eastly Undying Dynasty have a grudge. The Dragon Palace isn't their match. There's a high chance they'll die at the hands of the Eastly Dynasty. Within the huge shrine on a planet of the Iron Blood Alliance, dozens of Undying Emperors sat at a round table. Their voices resounded throughout the shrine. As long as the Raging Flame Dynasty can help us solve the problem of the Luo Erman Desolate Beast Park, our Iron Blood Alliance will be the overlord of this region. At that time, even the Eastly Undying Dynasty will have to bow down to us. This matter is not a bad thing for us. In the middle, an Undying Level 4 God King said with a smile. The rest of the God Kings nodded, looking forward to their lives in the future. At this time in the Hedian Plaza in front of the Eastly Undying Empire, a Deputy Alliance leader of the Iron Blood Alliance had a drastic change in expression as he looked at the message sent by the Alliance leader. He glanced at Wang Xian and passed the communication stone plate to the other Deputy Alliance leader. This is the latest news. When the other Deputy Alliance leader saw the contents, his expression changed slightly. Everyone, if there's nothing else, please leave too. In the sky, Emperor Taizu looked at the 2 Deputy Alliance leaders of the Iron Blood Alliance and said expressionlessly. Since the Iron Blood Alliance didn't give them any face today, there was no need for them to continue fawning over them. To think that the Dragon Palace actually relied on the Iron Blood Alliance to make the Eastly Dynasty lose face. The Iron Blood Alliance has 3 Undying Level 4 warriors, with them supporting the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace doesn't fear Eastly at all. When the surrounding powers saw this scene, their expressions changed. Who would have thought that the Iron Blood Alliance had power that was even stronger than the Eastly dynasty? And the Dragon Palace had helped the Iron Blood Alliance. It was hard to say how the Dragon Palace would fight against the Eastly Undying dynasty in the future. Wait, Eastly Emperor, Senior Emperor, I'm really sorry. The two Vice Alliance leaders exchanged glances and said to the Eastly dynasty, "Two of you, we have received a notice from the Alliance Master and the three Patriarchs that we will not be involved in the feud between you and the Dragon Palace. If necessary, we can join forces with them." Then, a sentence was sent into the minds of the Eastly Divine Emperor and Great Emperor. The two of them directly transmitted the message through voice transmission. What is the Iron Blood Alliance doing? Great Emperor of the Eastly dynasty frowned and said impatiently, "It was our fault for what happened just now. In short, we can guarantee that we won't get involved in the feud between you and the Dragon Palace." The two deputy chiefs of the Iron Blood Alliance said solemnly, "All right." The Easternly Celestial Emperor nodded immediately. Although he didn't know what the Iron Blood Alliance was up to, as long as they didn't interfere today, they would be able to keep the Dragon King here today. The entire Hedian Square suddenly fell silent for a few seconds. The atmosphere was a little strange. Wang Xian did not sense the secret voice transmission from the two Vice Alliance leaders of the Iron Blood Alliance and Emperor of Eastly. However, Ao He and Ao Qitian frowned slightly. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Suddenly, in the sky, the great ancestor of the Emperor of the Eastly Celestial Empire, the strongest expert of the Eastly Celestial Empire, suddenly waved his arm and numerous imprisonment rings were thrown out. The imprisonment rings shot directly at Wang Xian and the rest, enveloping all of them. The sudden change stunned Wang Xian slightly. Although it was a little out of his expectations for the Iron Blood Alliance to stand up for him, he thought that the Eastly dynasty would not dare to make a move. He did not expect a sudden attack. What happened? All the soldiers of the Eastly Immortal dynasty get ready, Dragon King and the entire Dragon Palace dare to step into our territory, we'll make sure they never come back. Dragon King, arrogant, I'll let you continue to be arrogant. Do you think that just by relying on the Iron Blood Alliance you can fight us, you can make us lose face today? Indeed you can, but your calculations today have gone wrong, you can stay here today. In an instant, the imprisonment ring resounded with Eastly Emperor's excited laughter. Rumble. At the same time his Emperor's aura, his undying level 3 aura exploded out. Wah wah wah. All the warriors and soldiers around were stunned when they heard the Emperor's words, however very quickly weapons appeared in their hands. The terrifying aura pierced through the clouds, shocking everyone. What's going on? Why is the Eastly Undying Empire suddenly preparing to attack again? All the surrounding powers saw this scene and their expressions changed. Many warriors led their disciples and immediately retreated. In an instant, there were millions of people in the plaza. Almost all of the powers brought their disciples and retreated over 10 million kilometers. Their sharp gazes stared over. What's going on? The sudden change made everyone's expressions change. A few warriors couldn't help but howl. Their hearts were beating fiercely. Look, the two Vice Alliance leaders of the Iron Blood Alliance are suddenly standing behind the Eastly Undying dynasty. The Iron Blood Alliance isn't going to help the Dragon Palace. All of a sudden there was a scream. Everyone looked at the Iron Blood Alliance members, their eyes wide open. The arrival of Dragon Palace and the Iron Blood Alliance had made them believe that Dragon Palace had relied on the Iron Blood Alliance to get here. Now that the Iron Blood Alliance didn't care about Dragon Palace for some reason now, Dragon Palace is finished. A fourth-rate leader said in a loud voice, and many people could hear it clearly. Why did the Iron Blood Alliance suddenly break away from the Dragon Palace? Now the Dragon Palace is really going to be finished. The experts of the other forces nodded slightly. Damn it. The Overlord Sect Master couldn't help but roar in a low voice. Things were out of his expectations, and there was a shackle ring floating above his head. This invincible warrior is simply courting death. No, it's great now. I wonder if it will implicate us. Some of the Overlord Sect powerhouses could not help but speak out. Their expressions were extremely ugly. Oh. Wang Xian was still standing quietly in the middle. He looked at everyone from the Eastly Divine Empire who had suddenly erupted. He looked at the people from the Iron Blood Alliance who were standing behind them. Dragon King Ao Crab and I sensed that the Iron Blood Alliance had sent a secret voice transmission to the Eastly Celestial Empire. It was the Iron Blood Alliance who spoke first. At this moment Ao Qitian, who was standing at the side, whispered to Wang Xian. Those who were weaker might not be able to sense the voice transmission when they were of the same level. However, Ao Crab, Ao Qitian, and the other immortal godly king level 4 combat strength could still sense the voice transmission fluctuation. Although it's a little unexpected, it's good too. This is exactly what we want. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly. Chapter 2488. 2488 Dragon Palace vs Eastly Dynasty 4. Haha Dragon King, you've killed all the disciples of our sect. Today let's see where you can run to. Die. Haha Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, let's see where you can run to this time. In Hedian Square, the sect master of the Heavenly Tiger sect and the hall master of the Wanshou Hall stared at Wang Xian and the rest with ferocious expressions. They laughed horribly. Today they would be able to take revenge. In the future, as long as they knew the secret of the Dragon King, they would be able to rise up quickly. They would be even more glorious and powerful than before. The fact that you are here, Dragon King, is the greatest congratulatory gift to the four of us. The chairman of the Heavenly Beast Corporation was filled with an excited smile as he spoke slowly. His tone was filled with mockery. Kill the rest. Great Ancestor Huang, please capture that Dragon King too. The Easternly Celestial Emperor said to Great Ancestor Huang. Leave it to me. Great Ancestor Huang nodded his head faintly. He looked at Wang Xian and didn't put him in his eyes at all. Easternly Celestial Emperor, our Snow sect is willing to fight for the Easternly Celestial Empire. Our Lingtian sect is also willing to fight for the Easternly Celestial Empire. Our Nine Heavens Immortal Celestial Empire is willing to fight for the Easternly Celestial Empire. At this moment, the three fourth-rate forces who had questioned Wang Xian immediately spoke up. Good. Prepare the soldiers of the Easternly Immortal Celestial Empire, ha! Easternly Celestial Emperor laughed out loud in satisfaction and ordered loudly. Whoosh. Howl. Close to 10 undyings flew out from the palace. At the same time, there were over 20 undyings flying out from the palace, soaring into the sky, giving off terrifying power. Hiss. Over 20 battle pets along with 40 undyings, my god. Crazy, this is a total of 60 undyings along with the 34th level forces, this is over 70, close to 80. The undying war pet roared, the powerful aura released by the undying fighters caused the skies to change color. The warriors from all the forces looked at the undying fighters in shock, their faces filled with shock. Over 70 undying fighters, this power, who could withstand it? At this time the Eastly Undying Dynasty gave off a sense of despair. Even the two Vice Alliance leaders of the Overlord sect were shocked when they saw this force. Damn, there are so many immortal kings. Boss Wang, I'm panicking. At this moment, Invincible looked at the imprisonment ring above his head and gulped as he spoke to Wang Xian. The current him was really panicking. Don't panic. I'll hand it over to 10 level 1 immortal kings to you later. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. When he saw that all the powerhouses from the Eastly Dynasty were basically in position, his face was filled with smiles. Very good. The Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Do you know that our Dragon Palace has been waiting for this moment? Ha. Wang Xian looked at them laughing maniacally and couldn't help but laugh as well. Sky changing. He roared the last 2 rounds. Bus. The moment he finished his sentence, the entire sky suddenly trembled. The sky had changed. Ha. Wang Xian's sudden maniacal laughter and roar stunned everyone. Why was he shouting at this moment? Your Dragon Palace is relying on the Iron Blood Alliance. Now that the Iron Blood Alliance is ignoring all of you, what else do you have to rely on? Buzz. However, at this moment all the forces discovered that the sky had suddenly changed. Black holes appeared out of thin air in this space. The surroundings were completely enveloped. Even the forces that had retreated more than 1,000 kilometers were completely sealed inside. Black holes disturbed the air. Large-scale black holes disturbed the air. They were formed by dozens of black hole disturbing array formations. This black hole disturbance formation covered over half of the main city of the Eastly God Dynasty. At this moment, the sky darkened, terrifying black holes stood in space, making the entire world look extremely terrifying. At this moment, everyone changed slightly. What's the situation? Everyone's pupils shrank as they looked up and surveyed their surroundings. All the powerhouses of the Eastly Celestial Empire also changed their expressions slightly. It's that formation. It's the formation that can trap the immortal godly monarch. A low roar came out from the mouth of the chairman of the Heaven Beast Corporation. The Eastly godly monarch and the rest suddenly had a bad premonition in their hearts. Haha, members of the Dragon Palace, fight! Wang Xian roared loudly. Bang bang bang. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, buildings broke apart in all directions. The powerhouses of the Dragon Palace surrounded the Hedian Square. 100,000 powerhouses of the Dragon Palace had summoned the Dragon Palace after Wang Xian and the rest had entered planet Dongli. 100,000 members were scattered around the area. They were waiting for this moment of battle. Although the appearance of the Iron Blood Alliance had wasted some time, it was not too late now. And it allowed him to see things clearly. Hiss, the Dragon Palace has already set up their subordinates around. Look, the leaders in front are all Undyings, there are many Undyings in the Dragon Palace too. At this time, all the powers far away from the center saw the 100,000 members of the Dragon Palace appear, their faces filled with shock. Warning. Any force that dares to break the formation and destroy the planet shall be exterminated. Wang Xian instantly floated in the sky and warned all the forces. His cold voice struck everyone's mind. You are courting death. How dare you gang up on us? Die. In the sky, when he saw the huge change in the sky and the sudden appearance of so many experts from the Dragon Palace, the expression of the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Empire changed slightly. His gaze locked onto Wang Xian. A long saber appeared in his hand and instantly attacked him. Roar roar roar, you dare to attack our Dragon King? Ask our members of the Dragon Palace if they agree. Ao, he saw the attack of the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Empire. He let out a wild roar and transformed into a devouring dragon that was about 11,000 meters long. The terrifying dragon aura attacked him. Roar roar roar. At the same time, endless roars came from their bodies. Aohi's body was like a black hole as terrifying devouring dragons flew out from his body. Similarly, a level 4 Undying Godly King level devouring dragon flew out from Aohi's body and attacked the great ancestor of the Eastly dynasty. In addition, with 12 level 3 Undying Godly King devouring dragons, they led a group of 20,000 God Lord level devouring dragons towards Wang Xian. Boom. They landed heavily behind Wang Xian and the rest, and their endless aura shook the world. What? 2 level 4 Undying Godly King warriors. In the sky, Aohi and the other devouring dragons surrounded him with law fragments, preventing him from attacking the black hole array. Ah! The Eastly Dynasty Emperor roared in shock. Chapter 2489. 2489 2489 Dragon Palace vs Eastly God Dynasty 5. 2 Undying Level 4 warriors. How is this possible? When the Eastly Emperor's roar resounded, the surrounding Eastly Undying warriors all paused, their faces filled with disbelief. 2 Undying Level 4 warriors. The warriors scattered around, all of them squinted, opening their mouths and staring in shock. Just now, the Dragon King had warned them that if anyone dared to attack the array, they would destroy the entire planet. At that time, many of the powers were still looking down on them and were slightly unhappy. Now, with the appearance of 2 Undying Level 4 warriors, their unhappiness vanished completely. 2 Undying Level 4 warriors. How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? The strength they unleash is getting more and more terrifying. Just these 2 Undying Level 4 warriors alone can cause the Eastly dynasty to suffer heavy losses. A leader of a force said with a shocked expression. Not just the 2 Level 4 Undyings, look at the terrifying creatures beside the Dragon King, the 12 leading, they all have level 3 strength, a total of 12. At this time, someone noticed the 12 Undying swallowing dragons that came out of Aosia's body. These devouring dragons all had the combat strength of a level 3 Undying God King. Hiss, the Eastly Undying God Dynasty itself has 5 level 3 Undying God King warriors, along with the 4 of them from the Heaven Beast group, along with the leaders of the 3 fourth-rate forces, they only have 12 level 3 Undying God King warriors. Level 3 Undying God King combat strength. The Dragon Palace is the same as the Eastly dynasty, the other dragon palaces also have quite a few undying god kings. This is not weaker than the Eastly dynasty at all, it might even be stronger. At the edge of the battlefield, the powerhouses from the various factions were muttering to themselves as they calculated the strength of the Dragon Palace and the Eastly dynasty. They looked at the powerhouses from the Dragon Palace in shock. The strength of the Dragon Palace had completely exceeded their expectations. Haha, Eastly dynasty, do you think our Dragon Palace is relying on the Iron Blood Alliance? They are not qualified to be relied on by us. All members of the Dragon Palace, kill. Wang Xian looked at all the experts of the Eastly Celestial Empire who were filled with shock and let out a wild roar. Damn it, don't be afraid. Great Ancestor Huang blocked those 2 Immortal King level 4 experts. The rest of you, kill them for me. Eastly Celestial Emperor gritted his teeth and roared with a gloomy face. The strength that the Dragon Palace had displayed was not something they could defeat. It was impossible for them to win today's battle. After all, the Dragon Palace had 2 more level 4 undying godly monarch experts. Kill them all. The few level 3 undying godly monarch experts from the Eastly Celestial Empire roared with blood-red eyes. Roar, roar, roar. Leave these dozen level 3 undying godly monarch experts to me. A roar came from beside Wang Xian. An incomparably huge figure covered in blood-red dragon scales slowly emerged. He had an ape-like face, a pair of blood-red dragon horns, and his entire body was wrapped in blood-red energy. He was holding a metal rod with blood-red chains wrapped around it. The violent aura charged towards a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers. Howl? He raised the metal rod in his hand and locked onto the surrounding 12 undying level 3 warriors. The violent energy caused everyone to be shocked. Another undying level 4 warrior. At this moment, a terrified howl came from an undying level 3 warrior. He stared wide-eyed, his face filled with fear as he stared at Ao Chi Tian who was attacking them. This incomparably violent power made them tremble. How is this possible? How can you have so many level 4 undying fighters? The Eastly dynasty's body trembled at this moment as they roared out. Roar. However, what responded to them was the terrifying ocean-stabilizing needle. No, no, no. At this time, the leaders of Snow Sect, Ling Tian Sect, and the 9 Heavens Undying Dynasty were all stunned. When they saw 2 level 4 undying godly monarch warriors appear in the Dragon Palace, their hearts trembled violently. Now that they saw another level 4 undying godly monarch warrior appear in the Dragon Palace, their faces were filled with fear. They had vowed to fight the Dragon Palace together with the Eastly Immortal Dynasty, and now that the Dragon Palace had displayed its strength, it made them feel fear and despair. Even if they could escape this time, they would have to face a devastating blow from the Dragon Palace. How can this be? How can the Dragon Palace be so strong? How can it be? Seeing the terrifying blood-red law energy attacking them, their eyes turned blood-red. They gritted their teeth and roared as they faced Ao Chi Tian's attack. Undying King Level 2, leave it to us, the Devouring Dragons. At this time, behind Wang Xian, the 12 Devouring Dragons roared and moved, attacking the rest of the Undying King Level 2 warriors. The 12 Undying King Level 3 Devouring Dragons, against the group of Undying King Level 2 warriors, they were completely crushed. Their bodies moved and the terrifying law energy swept out. All the surrounding warriors from the Eastly Undying Empire were filled with despair. Haha, leave it to me, 10 Undying Level 1 warriors. I, Invincible, will kill 10 Undying Level 1 warriors today. Standing beside Wang Xian, Invincible revealed a burning look in his eyes as he saw this scene. He laughed maniacally in excitement. Roar, roar, roar. At the next moment, a level 2 Immortal King battle pet appeared beneath him. At the same time, on Invincible's body, a substantial law surrounded him. Kill them, ha ha ha. Invincible's gaze landed on Snow Sect, Ling Tian Sect, and the group of level 1 Immortal King warriors from the 9 Heavens Immortal Dynasty. He ordered the battle pet beneath him. Roar, roar, roar. The level 2 Immortal King battle pet roared. A savage aura shot out from its body and directly attacked the 10 level 1 Immortal King warriors. Kill? Wang Xian saw that the battle had already erupted. He raised his arm and roared. Kill? A cold killing intent resounded throughout the sky. All the members of the Dragon Palace started to move. In an instant, their energy completely crushed the East Ally Undying country. Shit, leader, save us. Run, run, run. Not good, I can't return to my undying country. The battle erupted. The 3 fourth-rate warriors from the Snow sect saw the unrivaled warrior riding his level 2 undying war pet attacking and lost their bearings. They howled in fear. At this time, they also knew that this strange space could prevent them from escaping back to their undying countries. In other words, they could only fight to the death, not flee. Chapter 2490. 2490. The 2490 God Dynasty was destroyed. Haha, if you want to escape, don't even think about it. Just now, with your little organization, you still dared to act so arrogantly towards the Dragon King. You don't know what you are, just wait for your destruction. Do you regret it later? Do you regret it later? Unfortunately, it's too late now. Invincible stood proudly on the battle pet. With a movement of his arm, a sharp sword appeared in his hand. Ping ping ping. Ah ah. The terrifying attack of the battle pet, along with his powerful attack, instantly 2 undying level 1 warriors were hit, instantly being heavily injured and sent flying backwards. Shit, we aren't even a match for that battle pet. That youth is actually an undying level 1 warrior. A terrified voice came from the 3 warriors of the Snow clan, their faces filled with despair. At this moment, they even hated their leader for participating in this battle. If they hadn't participated, they wouldn't have been attacked by such a terrifying warrior from the Dragon Palace. In fact, they might even have to pay with their lives. Flee, flee, we have to flee. The other 8 undying level 1 warriors lost their fighting spirit and scattered in all directions. If you want to flee, I'll let you all escape. My invincible battle technique won't be able to survive anymore. Invincible battle technique saw them fleeing in fear, his face filled with mockery. Howl, howl. His battle pet let out roars. As an undying level 2 battle pet, it was easy to deal with an undying level 1, at least a few first level undyings would be able to deal with an undying level 2. Blade slash. Invincible immediately raised his blade and slashed forward. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Solid laws slashed at the group in front, tearing through the space. This invincible his strength, he has reached the undying Emperor realm. How is this possible? Invincible has actually reached the undying Emperor realm. At this time, at the edge of the black hole, the people from the Overlord sect saw Invincible standing above his battle pet and killing in all directions, their faces filled with disbelief. Seeing the terrifying attack he unleashed, everyone's faces were filled with shock. The entire Overlord sect was clear about his invincible battle techniques. Eternal God Lord level 5, he was extremely talented. In the entire greater world he was extremely powerful. But now he actually unleashed undying Emperor strength. How was that possible? There was a limit to how much he could be a genius. This was heaven-defying. Everyone's eyes were dazed. Was this real or fake? Hiss, sect leader Mu Rongyu. How did your disciple reach the undying God King realm so quickly? How is this possible? Beside him, the warriors from the Heavenly Law sect looked at sect leader Ba and asked in shock. I'm not sure either. Sect leader Ba's eyes were filled with shock as well. He shook his head and stared at his disciple. Invincible battle technique has reached the undying God King realm before he's even 1,000 years old. He has the potential of an emperor. Heavenly Law sect leader opened his mouth slightly. The potential of an emperor. Hearing these words, the warriors of Overlord sect trembled. Just now, they were worried that invincible battle technique would drag them down. There were even a few people who were extremely dissatisfied with their invincible battle techniques. Now, their dragon palace had erupted with invincible strength, and their invincible battle techniques had displayed the strength of an undying God King. Thinking about the dissatisfaction and scolding towards their invincible battle techniques during this period of time, the faces of the few experts turned pale. The Emperor's talent could be called the Emperor's talent, but one had the chance to become a Void God Emperor. Originally, the Heavenly Law sect leader did not have the qualifications to evaluate a person who had the talent of an emperor. However, he had reached the undying God King realm at the age of less than 1,000 years. Indeed, he had the talent of an emperor. He did not need anyone to evaluate him to have the qualifications. My disciple's combat techniques are unrivaled and he has the talent of an emperor. Overlord sect leader also roared with excitement. Order all battle pets to risk their lives. Even if they have to risk their lives, they have to replace a person from the Dragon Palace. At this time, the battle erupted and the Eastly God dynasty was instantly at a disadvantage. The emperor roared with an extremely ugly expression. In front of the Eastly God palace, the 23 war pets had yet to attack. Attack, attack. Under the emperor's orders, the owners of the war pets immediately gave the order to attack. Howl, howl, howl. A series of violent roars came out from the mouths of the 23 war pets. The 23 immortal God King war pets were charging at the powerhouses of the Dragon Palace in a frenzy. With 23 immortal God King war pets attacking, the pressure on the Eastly dynasty should be reduced a little. Some people muttered when they saw more than 20 immortal God King war pets attacking. Hee hee. Wang Xian looked at the group of war pets flying over with a mocking expression on his face. These war pets were all bought from his Dragon Palace's war pet shop. They were all tamed by him. Roar. Wang Xian raised his head and let out a dragon's roar. A wave of dragon's might directly covered the 23 war pets. Roar, roar, roar. The group of war pets trembled and shook their bodies in panic. They lowered their heads and didn't dare to continue attacking. What's going on? All war pets attack. When the Easternly Celestial Emperor and the rest saw the war pets suddenly stopping their attacks, panic appeared on their faces as they shouted sternly. Easternly Celestial Empire, do you think that my Dragon Palace didn't guard against you? When you bought the war pets, I did something to it. Wang Xian looked at them mockingly. It was just an excuse from Wang Xian to prevent the other buyers from thinking that the war pets from the Dragon Palace's war pet shop could be recalled easily. Roar. Just as he finished his sentence, the 23 war pets swayed and landed in front of the Divine Palace. They lay on the ground motionlessly. This. When the Easternly Celestial Emperor saw this scene, his expression changed drastically. His eyes were filled with despair. It's over. When the rest of the warriors saw this, their hearts sank, their faces ashen. The number of Dragon Palace undyings far exceeded their imaginations. With over 20 battle pets defending, it could reduce their pressure. And now the battle pets had been tampered with, lying on the ground and not attacking with the power of the Dragon Palace, they were completely suppressed. The Eastly Undying Empire is about to lose, it's impossible for them to win this battle. I didn't expect the Dragon Palace to have already predicted this. Right now the Eastly Undying Empire is lacking over 20 undyings. The surrounding crowd saw all the battle pets lying on the ground without attacking. They said softly. So south. Right at this time, a huge silhouette suddenly flew in their direction. Everyone was slightly shocked. However, they soon realized that 5 huge and ferocious figures were flying towards their direction, the sky above them, and the other 3 directions. They had completely sealed off the surroundings to prevent anyone from destroying the formation. These 5 figures were the 5 level 3 Immortal King Realm experts from the Dragon Palace. The 12 level 3 Immortal King Realm experts from the Dragon Palace couldn't do anything to them given the current situation. Wang Xian ordered the 5 level 3 Immortal King level Devouring Dragons to guard the area and prevent anyone from destroying the formation. Boom, 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 boom. Anyone who is not from the Eastly Dynasty is not allowed to get close to the formation. No one from the Eastly Dynasty can destroy the formation. The 5 Devouring Dragons looked at everyone coldly and roared with a stern face. What is this? They are going to wipe out the Easternly Dynasty in one go. Not only will the Easternly Dynasty be defeated, they might even be wiped out. Without more than 20 war pets, they will be even more vulnerable. Everyone was shocked. Chapter 2491. 2491 China was being destroyed. In the air ahead, the Emperor was being held back by 2 experts from the Dragon Palace, trapping him within a 100 kilometers radius. Below, an Undying King level 4 expert from the Dragon Palace was attacking the 12 Type 3 Undying Kings. The 12 experts did not have the ability to resist. In just a few minutes, 3 had already fallen. Furthermore, facing the ferocious attack of the Dragon Palace warrior, the Eastly Dynasty Undying level 3 warriors didn't even have the ability to fight back. Even Undying level 3 warriors didn't have the ability to fight back, let alone the others. The 5 Undying level 3 warriors from the Dragon Palace stood guard around the formation. All the powers watched in awe. At this moment, no one dared to provoke the Dragon Palace. Kill. Below there were 100,000 eternal god lords and above, of which 3,000 were pinnacle godlords. 100,000 disciples against 200,000 to 300,000 Eastly Dynasty godlords. The difference in numbers was 1 to 2 times. However, under the battle formation of 100,000 Dragon Palace warriors, every second, thousands of eternal godlords were killed by the Dragon Palace warriors, a one-sided massacre. At this time, the Eastly Undying Dynasty and the Dragon Palace were on completely different levels. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Below, rumbling sounds could be heard as large areas of the Eastly Undying Palace collapsed. The screams of undying godly monarchs could be heard from time to time. No, 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 how can this be? Great Ancestor Huang, break the formation, break the formation, break the formation, and our people of the Eastly Dynasty will be able to escape. At this moment, the Eastly Divine Emperor swept his gaze across the surroundings. He watched as godly monarchs fell one after another. He watched as the experts of the Eastly Celestial Dynasty were quickly killed. His eyes were filled with fury as he roared. At this moment, all he wanted to do was escape. Get lost. In the sky, the Eastly Divine Emperor's great ancestor's eyes were blood-red as he bombarded Ao He and the other devouring dragon. Ao Qitian, speed up, we can't hold on much longer. Ao Qi and the other devouring dragon relied on their 10,000-meter bodies to completely trap them within. Seeing the Eastly Dynasty great ancestor trying to break free, Ao Qi immediately roared at Ao Qitian. The moment he broke free, he could destroy the Black Hole Disturbance Array. After all, the Black Hole Disturbance Array could only trap undying Level 3 warriors. Level 4, it could be easily broken through. Alright, 30 seconds. Howl, howl, howl. Ao Qitian immediately nodded, roaring towards the sky. Hua la la la. The next moment, on the ocean pacifying needle in his hand, a blood-red chain formed from the laws spread out in all directions. The terrifying chain was like a terrifying venomous snake, instantly spreading over a 100 million kilometers radius. In an instant, he enveloped the Eastly Emperor group of Level 3 Undyings. Even many other Undyings were engulfed. Chains, mad dragon piercing. Ao Qitian roared madly, the sky full of chains headed towards the Eastly Empire warriors. Not good. Shit, what move is this? When the sky full of chains covered a 100 million kilometers area, the entire Eastly Empire city was covered. The terrifying blood-red chains were all 4 to 5 meters thick. Defend. Eastly God roared madly with his blood-red eyes. Ka ka ka. However, their law defense was instantly destroyed under the attack of the Mad Dragon chains. The Mad Dragon that unleashed its full strength, its attack power was definitely terrifying. Ping ping ping. Ah! The two chains came before an undying emperor, immediately wrapping around him. The terrifying power directly wrapped around his body. Screams began to ring out. No, no, no. The undying Emperor Level 3 warriors were filled with despair. They were undying emperors, top existences in this region. Yet now they were actually facing death. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. Dragon Palace, why are you all so strong, why? The Easternly Celestial Emperor was bound by the chains and his face was completely drained of blood as he roared crazily. Their Easternly Celestial Empire was the overlord of this region. And now they were actually facing destruction. Die. Ao Qitian let out a furious roar as the chains in his hands covered the entire area. Bang! Soon a corpse fell from the chains to the ground below. Qitian, make your move and destroy the rest of the people from the Easternly Celestial Empire. Wang Xian stood in the void and didn't move. He didn't need to make a move in this war. He swept his gaze in the direction of the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Empire and gave an indifferent order to Ao Qitian. It's the Dragon King. Ao Qitian let out a furious roar. His towering figure looked down at everyone around him. It's over. I surrender. Our snow sect surrenders. I beg the Dragon King to let us off. We are willing to surrender. Don't kill us. Don't kill us. When everyone sensed that the experts of the Easternly Celestial Emperor had been killed, the rest of them trembled. Their fighting spirit had collapsed. Their fighting spirit had vanished. Some of the experts could not help but beg for mercy from Wang Xian and the rest. It's too late to surrender now. Walala. The wild dragon chain swept across. The terrifying violent law energy swept across the void and turned all of them into corpses. With Ao Qitian taking action, The immortal deity king died at a terrifying speed. No, no. Everyone in the Eastly dynasty was in despair. At this time, many of them gave up on the battle and fled madly. There were even some who stood there dazed, their eyes lifeless. Death was increasing at 10 times the speed. This also meant that the Eastly Undying dynasty was slowly heading towards destruction. An existence that had stood in this region for over 10 million years was collapsing. Rumble. This has already exceeded our expectations. On the side, the two Vice Alliance leaders stood there, looking ahead in shock. His mouth was dry, he couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Ahead, there were 60 to 70 Dragon Palace Undyings and 3 Undying Level 4 warriors. This power was even stronger than the Iron Blood Alliance. The Raging Flame Empire wants us to destroy that Dragon King now. The two Iron Blood Alliance vice leaders exchanged glances, their eyes filled with worry. Just now we've already offended that Dragon King, do you think he'll leave us here too? Suddenly, a vice leader spoke, his eyes gleaming. The other vice leader's heart sank, his gaze sweeping the surroundings. Should we? He spoke and gestured at the surrounding arrays. The other deputy alliance leader frowned, gritting his teeth, nodding heavily. However, at this time, he felt many gazes looking over. Shit. Seeing several terrifying Dragon Palace members staring at them at the same time, their hearts sank, they had a bad feeling. Chitian, go help Aosia today. I want the Eastly Undying dynasty to be completely destroyed. I want them to completely disappear from this space. Right at this time, a proud voice resounded. Chapter 2492. 2492-2492 Celestial Dynasty was destroyed. It's the Dragon King. Ao Chitian roared and stared at the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty, his eyes full of killing intent. Boom. He moved and charged toward the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty with an invincible momentum. Dragon Palace, I will fight you to the death. Seeing that almost all the soldiers of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty were killed, the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty roared crazily. The entire Easternly Dynasty was their blood and sweat. It was the place where he had lived his whole life. He only had a lifespan of over 10,000 years, but when he saw his dynasty being destroyed, he was determined to die. He attacked Ao Crab and the others crazily. Before he died, he wanted to kill one of them. Hiss, the Easternly Dynasty is completely finished. The great ancestor of the Easternly Dynasty is ready to risk his life. This must be the full strength of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King stood there and did not make a move during the entire battle. He stood high up in the sky and looked down at everything. The Dragon Palace is much more powerful than the Easternly Dynasty. Did you notice that no one from the Dragon Palace died? It's too terrifying. The surrounding forces looked at the final battle in the sky in shock. Today's battle, the old king fell, the new king rose. Some people muttered, "Haha, we killed 5. At this time, laughter resounded from the front. Everyone looked over, looking at the youth, invincible in his battle techniques. Boss Invincible, do you have to be so heaven-defying? He's about the same age as us, and he's actually an Undying God King now, and he even has an Undying Level 2 battle pet. Invincible's ability to reach the Undying Emperor realm is definitely all thanks to the Dragon King. Invincible's luck is simply too good. An Undying Emperor who's less than 1,000 years old, that Invincible will probably become a top warrior of the resplendent world in the future." In the surrounding area, a few youths from the powers looked at Invincible's battle skills, their faces filled with envy as they discussed. Not long ago they were friends who drank together. Back then, even though their invincible battle techniques were monstrous, they weren't as terrifying as they were now. Now that they were at the God Emperor realm, in their region they were already top-level warriors. An Undying that's not even 1,000 years old, it's unbelievable, the future is limitless. The Undying Emperor warriors around all looked at him, their eyes filled with shock. In the future, invincible battle techniques might reach a stage that would shock everyone. Haha. Feeling the gazes around him, invincible battle techniques raised his head slightly and came to Wang Xian's side. "How is it, Boss Wang? Am I strong? If you didn't ask Leader Ao to make a move, I would have been able to kill at least a dozen Undying Godly Monarchs today. Haha, from today onwards, my invincible battle technique will shake the entire universe in this region. I am the only one." Invincible battle technique roared arrogantly. Just as he said, he was an undying level 1 along with an undying level 2 battle pet. He was very strong. Most importantly, invincible battle technique was the Dragon Palace Dragon King's underling, who would dare to provoke him. After today, Wang Xian could already imagine that the leaders of the fourth-rate forces would have to be polite and respectful to him. After all, he had a good boss. Stop showing off and train hard. Your bloodline is very strong. Maybe you can live up to your name. Wang Xian patted his shoulder and said with a smile. If you follow Boss Wang, you will definitely be invincible in the future. He said flatteringly. Okay. Wang Xian smiled faintly and swept his gaze across the sky. Ao Chichen Ao Crab, and the rest were engaged in a battle with the great ancestor of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty. Below, all the soldiers of the Easternly Celestial Dynasty were being cleaned up quickly. They would be done in a few minutes at most. A group of powerhouses from the Dragon Palace had already arrived at the position behind him. Wang Xian's gaze slowly landed on the position in front of him. This is bad. When he looked over, the expressions of the two deputy alliance leaders of the Iron Blood Alliance changed slightly. They had a bad premonition in their hearts. Everyone from the Iron Blood Alliance, come over. Wang Xian stared at them and said indifferently. This? The two deputy chiefs of the Iron Blood Alliance looked at each other with an extremely ugly expression. At this moment they really wanted to escape. However, there were a total of 8 people who had their eyes locked on them. 8 Immortal King level 3 powerhouses were locked on them. If they dared to make any move, they would definitely be surrounded and attacked instantly. 1 against 4, there was no way for them to escape. With an ugly expression, the two of them led 7 to 8 of their subordinates and flew towards Wang Xian. Dragon King. The two of them flew over and cupped their fists nervously. This is the people from the Iron Blood Alliance. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and the rest seemed to be indebted to the Iron Blood Alliance. However, why did they suddenly go back on their words just now? I wonder, what is the relationship between the Dragon Palace and the Iron Blood Alliance? Some of them noticed the situation and looked over with puzzled faces. Why did the Dragon Palace owe the Iron Blood Alliance a favor? Wang Xian looked at them and asked expressionlessly. Dragon King, Our Iron Blood Alliance was attacked by the Beast Tide at the Lualman Desolate Beast Park. The Dragon King and the Dragon Palace helped us reduce our losses by a lot. The two deputy chiefs gritted their teeth and replied. I don't expect anything in return for helping you. Please give me an explanation for what happened just now. Wang Xian's body slowly emitted a hint of dragon might as he stared at them with a sharp gaze. Dragon King, we just received a message from the Eastly Immortal Dynasty. Do you really think that I didn't know that you sent a voice transmission to the Eastly Immortal Dynasty? A deputy chief spoke but was interrupted coldly by Wang Xian. I hate ungrateful people the most. I can help your Iron Blood Alliance and destroy your Iron Blood Alliance. Wang Xian stared at them and spoke with a murderous look. His words caused the expressions of the people from the Iron Blood Alliance to change drastically. Now that they had seen the full power of the Dragon Palace, even if this power could not destroy their Iron Blood Alliance, it could still bring them a huge disaster. One had to know that they still had the huge threat of the Lualman Desolate Beast Park. Even if they had the help of the Blazing Flame Divine Empire, but the power of the Dragon King had already exceeded their expectations. Dragon King, we don't have. Boom, boom, boom. They wanted to warn him, but at this moment, terrifying attacks came from all directions and covered them. Soul capture. At the same time, Wang Xian extended his palm and attacked one of the deputy chiefs. No. The people from the Iron Blood Alliance who were attacked by the devouring dragons had no chance to resist. The terrifying power landed on them. Bust. Wang Xian grabbed with his palm and a stream of information entered his mind. Chapter 2493. 2493 Dragon Palace. The members of the Iron Blood Alliance have been killed. The Dragon Palace has done the Iron Blood Alliance a favor, but now the Iron Blood Alliance seems to have repaid their kindness with enmity. Now that the Dragon King knows about it, it's only right for them to be killed. The battle in front of the Eastly Dynasty's Divine Palace had come to an end. Everyone looked forward. Over there, the experts of the Dragon Palace had killed the members of the Iron Blood Alliance. After today, I think the Dragon Palace will be the overlord of this place. Some powerhouses from some factions mumbled. They looked at the Dragon King with reverence. But at this moment, Wang Xian, who had absorbed the memories of a deputy alliance leader, waved his arm and took the communication stone plates from them. He waved his arm and opened the communication stone plates to read the contents. Blazing Flame Empire, I don't think I have offended anyone from the Blazing Flame Empire. Why are they trying to kill me? Wang Xian mumbled softly. Following that, a hint of violent killing intent flashed in his eyes. Back then, he had led the members of the Dragon Palace to help the Iron Blood Alliance to fend off the Beast Tide. Although he had his own selfish motives, he had helped the Iron Blood Alliance to tide over a dangerous situation. Now they actually wanted to kill him. To repay kindness with enmity. Wang Xian was extremely furious at the actions of the Iron Blood Alliance. He hated people who repaid kindness with enmity the most. The Iron Blood Alliance, huh? I will make you pay the price. He slowly raised his head and looked at the corpse in front of him. Die, 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 die. At this moment, an incomparably violent roar came from the sky. He looked over. In the sky, the great ancestor of the Eastern Li dynasty was fully prepared to die. He was desperately trying to drag a member of the Dragon Palace into the water. Some cracks had already appeared in the surrounding black holes that disturbed the space. The great ancestor of the Eastern Li dynasty did not think of escaping. Instead, he was going to fight to the death. However, with 2 devouring dragons and a berserk dragon seed, Ao Qitian and Ao Xia were not to be trifled with. As divine dragon seeds, they did not show any signs of panic in the face of his desperate efforts. The 3 of them did not have any injuries on their bodies. On the contrary, the body of the great ancestor of the Eastern Li Celestial Empire was already in tatters. It was only a matter of time before the great ancestor of the Eastern Li Celestial Empire fell. Clean up everything. Wang Xian ordered Prime Minister Gue. It's the Dragon King. The Dragon Palace didn't use all their strength this time, but the rewards this time would be terrifying. Just the Undying Emperor corpses alone had reached about 60. Among them, there were a total of 12 Undying Emperor Level 3 corpses. These 12 Undying God countries with Undying Emperor Level 3 corpses could add 6 Undying Emperor Level 5 warriors to the Devouring Dragon. And these 12 corpses could also increase the Dragon Palace's strength by 2 to 3 Level 5 Undying God King members. The rest of the corpses and the Eastli dynasty's assets were enough to make a huge difference in the Dragon Palace's strength. After all, the entire Eastli dynasty had stood in this starry sky for over 10 million years, their foundations were extremely deep. These resources could bring a huge boost to the Dragon Palace. Other than that, there were also the few forces that were courting death from the Ling Tian sect of the Snow sect. They could also bring a lot of resources to the Dragon Palace. There are also more than 20 immortal God King battle pets. Wang Xian looked at the battle pets lying on the ground. The corner of his mouth curled up slightly. After circling around, the battle pets returned to him. My Eastli immortal dynasty has stood for millions of years. I'm not willing to let it be destroyed by me. I am not willing. In the sky, a miserable voice filled with endless unwillingness rang out. The great ancestor of the Eastli immortal dynasty is going to die. He is going to be killed. The Eastli immortal dynasty is completely finished. Everyone around looked at the battlefield. Their hearts trembled slightly and their faces were filled with shock. Bang! Bang bang bang! Loud bangs rang out one after another. It lasted for a full minute. After a minute, the entire sky was completely silent. A corpse was falling downwards. In the middle, the great ancestor of the Eastern Li Celestial Empire did not let out a single cry of pain. If one had the will to die, one would be courting death. Wang Xian looked at the corpse coldly. The Dragon Palace had always upheld the principle of not provoking others. However, if someone wanted to kill him, they would have to suffer 10 times and 100 times the Dragon Palace's revenge. Gulp. Seeing nearly 60 immortal godly monarchs fall and a level 4 immortal godly monarch fall, everyone couldn't help but gulp. Greetings Dragon King, congratulations Dragon King for a complete victory. Greetings Dragon King, congratulations Dragon King for a complete victory. In the surrounding area, the Overlord Sect's Sect Master hesitated for a moment before looking at the Heavenly Law Sect's Sect Master. The two of them looked at each other before taking a step forward and congratulating each other. Greetings Dragon King, congratulations Dragon King for a complete victory. The group of Overlord Sect and Heavenly Law Sect's powerful disciples immediately took a few steps forward as they respectfully cupped their hands and greeted. Greetings, Dragon King. Congratulations, Dragon King, for a complete victory. The other leaders of the forces saw this scene and quickly led their disciples to bow loudly. The current Dragon Palace was a throne built on the corpses of the Eastly Undying Dynasty. They didn't even dare to resist the Eastly Undying Dynasty, much less the current Dragon Palace. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the Dragon Palace's strength could destroy all the forces present. Even if all the factions were added together, there were thousands of immortal kings. Alright, you guys can leave first. When the Dragon Palace holds the War Pet auction again soon, everyone will gather again. At that time, our Dragon Palace will have something to discuss with you. Wang Xian waved his hand at the people from all the factions around him and said indifferently, "It's the Dragon King." The group of factions nodded immediately. When they saw the formation disappear, they took a deep look and left immediately. Invincible, we have settled everything. Let's return to the Overlord Sect. The Overlord Sect leader hesitated for a moment and said to Invincible Battle Technique, "It's Master." Invincible Battle Technique smiled and nodded. He raised his head slightly and looked at the experts from the Overlord Sect. The current him could be said to have soared into the sky. The Invincible in the past may have been monstrous, with the Overlord clan backing him and an Undying God King level 3 master. But now, without relying on his background and strength, he could be ranked first in this region. In terms of background? Sorry, my boss is Dragon King. Invincible was very proud of himself at this moment. Dragon King, I have already sent people to all the planets under the control of the Eastly Celestial Empire. We will soon take over the East Lake planet, the largest wealth of the Eastly Celestial Empire. At this moment, Prime Minister Gue walked over and said to Wang Xian with a smile on his face, "Ichimim, you can handle this matter. I will bring a few members to their immortal divine kingdom." Wang Xian nodded at Prime Minister Gue. He could rest assured that Prime Minister Gue would do a better job than him. In addition, he wanted to find out the immortal god country of these 60 immortal god kings through the formation. Chapter 2494 2494 Dragon Palace. The Eastly Dynasty's Hidian, the Dragon Palace, sent gifts of war and destruction. The Eastly Undying Dynasty was completely destroyed. Shocking, the Eastly Undying Dynasty was destroyed. The Dragon Palace Dragon King led a group of warriors and easily swept through the entire Eastly Dynasty. The Dragon Palace's strength is too terrifying: 3 Undying level 4 warriors, over 10 Undying level 3 warriors. The Eastly Undying Dynasty didn't even have the strength to resist. Just when everyone thought that the Eastly Dynasty didn't care about the Dragon Palace, just when everyone thought that the Dragon Palace wasn't as good as the Eastly Dynasty, the Dragon Emperor led his men to destroy the entire Eastly Dynasty. The Dragon Emperor led 60 to 70 Undyings this time, easily destroying the entire Eastly Dynasty. Close to 60 Undyings fell. After the destruction of the Eastly Dynasty, all the powerful warriors left with their disciples. In less than half an hour, news about the entire Eastly Dynasty's Hidian spread throughout the AI. Today's battle shocked everyone. The Dragon Palace that no one thought highly of had actually stepped into the Eastly Dynasty's Hidian and killed everyone. The Eastly Dynasty didn't even have the strength to resist. When the news spread out, it shook the entire region. Everyone looked at the contents in disbelief. 3 Undying level 4 warriors from the Dragon Palace, over 10 Undying level 3 warriors. Such a terrifying power, it shocked everyone. There were even some who recorded the battle. The recording wasn't clear, but the battle of the Eternal God Lord was clear. The 100,000 troops of the Dragon Palace, the weaker ones, had the strength of an Eternal God Lord level 3, they single-handedly slaughtered the strongest army of the East Li Undying Empire. Looking at the images and the news, everyone was shocked. This region, the Dragon King, will be the leader in the future. The East Lake planet will soon be under the control of the Dragon Palace. The power of the Dragon Palace is simply too strong. We have to change the overlord of this region. Some warriors looked at the information, muttering to themselves. An Undying less than 1,000 years old has been born, a heaven-defying existence, invincible in his battle techniques. Overlord Sect leader's disciple, the little brother of the Dragon King's invincible battle techniques, has reached the Undying Emperor realm. He's only less than 1,000 years old. This is unbelievable. an undying emperor who's not even 1,000 years old, and the Dragon King's level 2 battle pet. It's too terrifying. This time, not only is the Dragon Palace famous, that invincible battle technique will be famous too. Reaching the undying emperor realm before 1,000 years old, this talent, even in our resplendent region and thousands of worlds, there's not a single one. Absolute geniuses, even the disciples of the large sects and even the pinnacle powers don't have invincible warriors. Other than the Dragon Palace destroying the Eastly Undying Emperor dynasty that shocked everyone, there was another thing that shocked everyone. Invincible warrior reached the Undying Emperor realm before 1,000 years old. Such monstrous talent, it shocked everyone. Emperor's talent. These 4 words were said out of nowhere. Following that, more and more people said that invincible in battle techniques had Emperor's talent. What was Emperor's talent meant that one had the potential to become a Void God Emperor. And Void God Emperor was a top expert in this resplendent land, the greater world. There were only a few Void God Emperors in this entire region. One could imagine how shocked people were at being invincible in combat techniques. Some people said that with the Overlord sect's strength, they could not nurture such a monstrous existence like the invincible in combat techniques. Only with the help of the Dragon King would the invincible in combat techniques be so strong. The invincible in combat techniques had become an undying God King at such a young age. Some people guessed that the Dragon King's appearance was so young, and his true age might not be that old. The entire AI was discussing this battle, over 1 trillion people were discussing it. This battle was akin to an earthquake in space. Dad, Mom, look, brother's information, he actually broke through to Undying Emperor. In the Tianzhe continent, Invincible's sister ran to her parents in disbelief, staring wide-eyed as she shouted. This, what the ancestor said is true, Invincible has actually broken through to Undying. Invincible's mother's gaze was a little dazed, following which she said excitedly. Dad, Mom, you already know? Now everyone is powerful, the Dragon King has destroyed the Eastly Undying dynasty, and the Dragon Palace is the king of our region. From now on, with the Dragon King's protection, you can do whatever you want. No, from now on, I want to hug my brother's legs, I want him to get me an Undying Emperor mount. Jean Tianmei pouted, her face filled with envy. Him? The Dragon Palace destroyed the Eastly Undying dynasty? Give me the AI, let me take a look. Jean Invincible's father was shocked. He had already said that Invincible had become an Undying Emperor, but he really didn't know that the Dragon Palace had destroyed the Eastly dynasty. The crisis in the Tianzhe continent had already been resolved, but the AI that covered the entire Emperor star field had yet to spread. On Star Source Planet, the overlords and heavenly technique disciples who had received the news were also shocked. When Leng Yu heard the news, her face was filled with disbelief. A few months ago, the Dragon Emperor's strength hadn't even reached Undying God Emperor, and he was still being chased by the Star Beast Tower disciples. Now, the Dragon Palace had become the overlord of this region. It was too fast. In the next few days, the entire region was filled with information about the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace and his invincible battle techniques. Some people cheered for the Dragon Palace's destruction of the Eastly dynasty, while others were worried. The birth of a new king required new rules after all. Wang Xian was very busy these few days. He had to deal with all sorts of matters and build the Dragon Palaces on each planet. He didn't even have the time to look at the information on the AI. He had to search for the immortal divine kingdom of the experts from the Eastly dynasty. He had to take over the life planets occupied by the Eastly dynasty and build the Dragon Palaces in the ocean. There were some things that Prime Minister Gui couldn't handle. He had to do it himself. The Eastly dynasty and the other 3 forces controlled about 200 life planets. He would occupy all of them and build one Dragon Palace after another. Wang Xian had obtained many rewards from the system for the establishment of the Dragon Palace. Among them, the reward that excited him the most was the Imperial Dragon Seed. The Imperial Dragon Seed was the strongest defensive dragon seed known to the Dragon Palace. It had 3 attributes of earth, metal, and wood. Their combat strength was not considered very strong, but they were indeed the strongest shields among the dragon seeds. When the Imperial Dragon Seed defended itself, even the Berserk Dragon Seed would find it difficult to defeat it. Of course, the Imperial Dragon Seed couldn't defeat the Mad Dragon Seed either. The appearance of the Imperial Dragon Seed improved the overall defense of the Dragon Palace a lot. Although the Saturn Turtles had good defense in the past, they were only the most ordinary dragon seed. Now, after they evolved into the Imperial Dragon Seed, their defense had undergone a shocking transformation. Chapter 2495. 2495 was upgraded. Miss. In the East Lake Planet's Black Forest Divine Mansion, there was a bamboo forest surrounding it. The Imperial Star Lady was cultivating in a room. The elder walked in and called out softly. "Old Boo, what's the matter?" Auntie Ing appeared and asked the elder. "Butler Ing, look at the AI. Something big has happened in this area." The old man in cloth clothes immediately said to Auntie Ing. "Oh." Auntie Ing raised her eyebrows and immediately turned on the AI. "Huh." When he saw the incident that was discussed on the AI, a shocked expression appeared on his face. "Auntie Ing, what happened?" At this moment, Imperial Star Lady walked out of the room and asked her. "Miss, look." Auntie Ing showed the incident on the AI in front of her in slight astonishment. "HM? How did that guy have such powerful strength?" Emperor Star Lady looked at the information on the Dragon Palace, her mouth slightly agape. "This Dragon King is a little mysterious, he has quite a bit of power. It would be better if the Dragon Palace destroyed the Eastly dynasty, but that little brother of his has invincible battle techniques, reaching the undying God King realm at less than 1,000 years old, that's a little terrifying. At such an age, even in the entire Emperor Star field, it's shocking news, and now he's being called an emperor." Enning said in shock. "An undying emperor that's only 1,000 years old, what kind of opportunity did he get to reach it?" The Emperor Star Lady opened her mouth slightly, her eyes filled with envy. Such talent in their imperial court was unprecedented. "Miss, old Bu said that when we captured the space beast back then, he sensed that the Dragon King was only at Undying Level 2, and now he's at Undying Level 3. And I've checked the Dragon King's information recently, he only appeared in Tianzhe continent a few months ago, back then he was at most at Undying Level 4 or 5. Enning said slowly. "How is that possible? And Ing, is it possible that the Dragon King was resurrected after the fall of a powerhouse?" The Imperial Star Lady widened her eyes and asked with a face full of shock. "It's possible." Aunt Ing nodded slightly. "Miss, if we can get the Dragon King to help us, it will be very beneficial to you in the future." After hesitating for a moment, Aunt Ing opened her mouth and said, But will that guy agree?" The Emperor Star Lady's expression changed. "There's no rush. There's still 2 years left." Enning said softly. The Emperor Star Lady looked at the picture of the Dragon King on the artificial intelligence system with some complicated feelings in her heart. This guy was getting more and more powerful. Something has happened. Alliance Master, 3 Patriarchs, 2 of our Deputy Alliance Masters have been killed by the Dragon King. Quick, look at the information on the artificial intelligence system. At this moment at the Iron Blood Alliance's headquarters. Due to the obstruction of the information, it took them several days to obtain all the information there. An expert from the Iron Blood Alliance carried AI and entered the main hall to report with an unsightly expression. "Elder Duan, we've just received this information." In the main hall, the 3 Patriarchs and the Iron Blood Alliance Master sat there with gloomy expressions. On both sides, there were the 5 warriors of the Raging Flame God Dynasty and the Raging Flame God Dynasty Emperor. The Dragon King already knows that we are going to make a move on him, and he said it on the spot, he will make our Iron Blood Alliance pay the price. The Iron Blood Alliance leader's face was almost bleeding. The Dragon Palace's strength had brought them too much shock. 3 Undying Level 4 warriors and over 10 Undying Level 3 warriors, this power was much more powerful than even their Iron Blood Alliance. Now the Dragon King was looking for trouble with them, and with the threat of the Lorman Desolate Beast Garden in front of them, they were adding insult to injury. "Members of the Raging Flame Empire, you have all seen the situation, we have already offended the Dragon Palace Dragon King because of you. With our Iron Blood Alliance's strength, there's no way we can destroy the Dragon King." An ancestor looked at the members of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty with a gloomy face and roared in a low voice. If they had known that the Dragon King had such strength, they would definitely not have agreed. However, it was too late now. "We will immediately report this matter to our Raging Flame Divine Emperor." The members of the Raging Flame Divine Dynasty also frowned. They thought that destroying the Dragon King would be a piece of cake. However, they didn't expect that with the Dragon Palace's current strength, it was already considered a third-rate force. This force, even if the Raging Flame Empire wanted to deal with it, they had to make preparations. After all, their Raging Flame Undying Empire was also a third-rate force, however it was only a peak third-rate force, with several Undying Level 5 warriors. Our Iron Blood Alliance will fully cooperate with your Raging Flame Empire, but we hope that you can keep your promise. The Iron Blood Alliance members said with grim faces. Everyone don't worry. Wait for a moment. The Raging Flame Divine Empire nodded to everyone. Our young master can allow 5 outstanding heaven's favored disciples of your Raging Flame Divine Empire to enter the Imperial Court Academy. Everything that happens after that will depend on themselves. Yes. Sir, please thank young master on our behalf. Our Raging Flame Divine Empire will definitely do our best to eliminate that Dragon King. Please rest assured, young master. In the starry sky opposite the Iron Blood Alliance's Lorman Desolate Beast Park, an old man with flames all over his body stood respectfully in front of an image as he spoke with an excited expression. The moment he finished speaking, the figure in front of the image immediately disappeared. 5 spots to eliminate a third-rate force. It's worth it. Men, go and call the 2 nation-guarding generals over. The old man whose body was covered in flames immediately ordered. A piece of good news has come from our Raging Flame Dynasty. Very soon, at the Iron Blood Alliance, an expert from the Raging Flame Dynasty looked at the news with a faint smile on his face. Yes, gentlemen, what's the news? The Iron Blood Alliance master hurriedly asked. Our Raging Flame Dynasty will send 2 Defender Generals over. When the time comes, you can just follow the orders of our Defender Generals. The warrior from the Raging Flame Empire said indifferently. 2 generals. The members of the Iron Blood Alliance were shocked, their faces filled with joy. With the general of the Raging Flame Undying Empire making a move, killing that Dragon King will be a piece of cake. The members of the Iron Blood Alliance were all excited. The general, an Undying Level 5 warrior, was in charge of the Raging Flame Empire, intimidating everyone. With their arrival, they could also help the Iron Blood Alliance to deal with some threats from the Lorman Desolate Beast Park. Wang Xian did not pay any attention to the shock from the outside world, the boiling in his brain, or the situation on the Iron Blood Alliance's side. Wang Xian, who had been busy for a few days, finally relaxed. Looking at the various resources in front of him, an excited look appeared on his face. He originally thought that he needed to capture the Immortal King Level 3 battle pet for his advancement. However, this time the accumulation of the Eastly Dynasty and the Snow Sect's 3 forces was enough for Wang Xian to advance by 1 level. Chapter 2496. 2496 2496 Overall Improvement. Wang Xian's improvement had always been the one that consumed the most resources. The rapid improvement recently was all due to the sale of tamed war pets. After destroying the Eastly Immortal Dynasty, they had plundered more than 60 Immortal Emperors' Immortal Empire. They had obtained a terrifying amount of resources from it. The resources that a faction had did not include the resources that the Immortal King alone had. Which Immortal King did not have some treasures? There were more than 60 Immortal Kings, and one of them was an Immortal King Level 4 existence. Their treasures could totally upgrade the Dragon Palace. Looking at the pile of treasures in front of him, Wang Xian was ready to break through his strength immediately. Once he broke through, he would have the combat strength of a Level 4 Immortal King. When he mastered the Black Hole Space-Disturbing Formation, he would be able to destroy a Level 4 Immortal King powerhouse. Dragon King, our Dragon Palace has taken over more than 100 planets. East Lake Planet has also become our Dragon Palace's commercial planet. This is some information regarding the future development path of the Dragon Palace and the fixed resources currently controlled by the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Gue sat over and handed Wang Xian a set of information. Okay. Wang Xian nodded his head and took it over to have a look. More than 100 life planets. This was a huge amount of wealth. Controlling this planet meant controlling the tax revenue of this planet. The tax revenue was extremely terrifying. Other than that, the planet owned some industries that could monopolize the planet. Once it was monopolized, it would be another terrifying gain. Of course, these gains were not bad for the Dragon Palace. The most important thing for the Dragon Palace was the East Lake Planet. The East Lake Planet was a commercial planet. According to Prime Minister Gui's analysis, the profits from the East Lake planet in a day could increase the Dragon Palace by 3 eternal god lords. What a terrifying thing. In addition to the Dragon Palace's fixed assets, Prime Minister Gui had also formulated some development plans. For example, in this area, more than 100,000 human life planets could give up their oceans to the Dragon Palace, and the Dragon Palace could protect a planet. For those human life planets that were not threatened by desolate beasts, the Dragon Palace could take out the territories of more than 100 planets to trade for their oceans. According to Prime Minister Gui's estimation, more than half of the 100,000 human life planets currently had external threats. If the Dragon Palace proposed this plan, there would definitely be many planets that would be willing for the Dragon Palace to enter their planet's oceans. At that time, the Dragon Palace would receive an explosive increase in strength. And the Dragon Palace would have sufficient resources to increase the number of new Dragon Palace members. According to Prime Minister Gui's plan, the number of members of the Dragon Palace would be increased to 500,000 or even 1 million within a year. Alright. According to the instructions from above, all the available resources are now in the Dragon Palace. Call the members of the Dragon Palace over. Next we will upgrade our strength. Wang Xian nodded and instructed Prime Minister Gui. It's the Dragon King. Prime Minister Gui nodded his head. Little Xian, if you are too busy, you can let us and Prime Minister Jiu handle some matters for you. Just as Prime Minister Gui left, a group of girls walked over. Alright. I have nothing to be busy with. Just leave it to Prime Minister Gui and the rest of the civil officials. Next, I want to raise my strength. All of you should also raise your strength to the immortal godly king realm. Wang Xian said to the group of girls. Alright. In the future, you will be in charge of the external affairs while we will be in charge of the internal affairs. Alright, don't forget to get Qin Yu and Ling Xiu back as soon as possible. The group of girls nodded their heads. Don't worry. Wang Xian smiled and looked at the resources in front of him. Then his body moved. Roar. A low roar was heard. His entire body immediately transformed into the body of a divine dragon that was more than 10,000 meters long. It's been a long time since I've transformed into a divine dragon. When I'm stronger, I don't have to be so apprehensive anymore. Wang Xian mumbled. He stared at the resources in front of him and opened his dragon mouth. Bus. All kinds of elixirs, divine trees, divine herbs, divine fruits, and divine liquid flew into his mouth and immediately transformed into a huge amount of origin dragon energy. Just as Wang Xian was rapidly improving, he was located in another part of the Dragon Palace. Numerous gigantic eternal kingdoms of the immortal god realm were placed around him. Devouring dragons were devouring them crazily. After inheriting the genes of the Bug clan, their speed of improvement was similarly terrifying. In the dragon transformation pool, the powerhouses of the Dragon Palace were sitting cross-legged inside. Similarly, they were improving their own strength. This time, there were more than 60 Immortal God King Realm experts and 200,000 to 300,000 Eternal God Master Realm experts who obtained the corpses. There were only 170,000 members in the Dragon Palace now. After consuming the dragon blood, every single one of them would receive a huge boost. At least this time, the number of immortal kings in the Dragon Palace could break through 200. Roar. Not long after, Wang Xian's dragon roar resounded throughout the entire Dragon Palace. All the members of the Dragon Palace paused and looked in one direction. Their eyes were filled with passion. The Dragon King was about to break through. Crack. At this moment, Wang Xian's dragon body had already reached 15,000 meters long. The shimmering substantive laws on it caused the entire dragon body to glow with 7-colored radiance. He has already possessed the combat strength of an Immortal King level 4. It won't be long before I can recover. At the side, the Divine Emperor Tianqin seemed to be even more excited than Wang Xian. Roar. Wang Xian opened his eyes slowly. Feeling the immense power, he smiled. Name Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Divine Dragon, Mandragon Unity. Level, Eternal Lord Level 8, Divine Dragon Transformation Level 6. Origin, 124, 344/500, 000. Supernatural ability, ruling the water tribe that is lower than one's own level. Devours living things to extract origin. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, Divine Dragon Transformation. Ability, Soul-absorbing, Spirit-attaching, Yin-Yang 5 elements Dragon Eyes. Aspect, 5 elements Great Mill Dragon Kingdom in the palm, Dragon head under the sky, Dragon body of 10,000 miles, Yin-Yang 2 poles, Yin-Yang 5 elements Arms bowl, Divine Dragon tail swing. Law, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light and Darkness Level 8. Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace. Dragon Palace, Level 7. Dragon Palace members, 178,693. Eternal Lord Level 8, I'm about to reach the 7th change of the Divine Dragon. Wang Xian looked at his attributes with a smile on his face. Eternal Lord Level 8 was able to fight against the Level 4 Immortal King. Such strength was invincible in this region. There's still one more thing to do. Destroy the Iron Blood Alliance and consolidate the strength of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian mumbled. Wang Xian would make ungrateful people pay the price of blood. After all the members of the Dragon Palace were upgraded, he could prepare to make his move. But he moved and arrived at the Dragon King's palace in an instant. He stretched lazily and took out his AI to check the current situation. When he saw the comments on the thread, a faint smile appeared on his face. This area will soon be dominated by the Dragon Palace. Stabilize this area, settle down for a year, and enter an even more magnificent area ahead. Wang Xian mumbled. Chapter 2497. 2497 entered the Lorman Desolate Beast Park again. Time passed day by day. All the members of the Dragon Palace were rapidly improving their strength. The outside world was in chaos. The members of the Dragon Palace were staying in the Dragon Palace. A month's time passed in the blink of an eye. The improvement of all the members of the Dragon Palace had come to an end. Wang Xian sat on the dragon throne and sensed the strength of the entire Dragon Palace. A smile appeared on his face. After this battle, the combat strength of the Immortal King of the Dragon Palace broke through 200, reaching more than 230. The strongest ones, Ao Crab and the Devouring Dragon, had 6 Devouring Dragons with the combat strength of an Immortal King Level 5. Other than that, the Devouring Dragon had 10 Immortal King Level 4 combat strength and 20 Level 3 combat strength. The remaining Level 1 and Level 2 fighters were 30 to 40. The Devouring Dragon was much stronger than the overall strength of the Dragon Palace. Other than the Devouring Dragon, Wang Xian had Level 4 Immortal King level fighters while Ao Qi, Tian, Ao Xing, Mu and Ao Qi had Level 4 Immortal King level fighters. The rest were Level 3 and below. With such strength, if released, it would definitely shock the entire starry sky. Prime Minister Gue. Wang Xian shouted softly. I'm here. Soon, Prime Minister Gue walked over respectfully. What's the situation with the Iron Blood Alliance? Wang Xian asked him. Dragon King, according to Ao Yao's investigation, we have discovered that there are experts from the Raging Flame Celestial Empire who have entered the Iron Blood Alliance. Among them there are 2 Level 5 Immortal King experts. In addition, we have sent people to investigate about the Raging Flame Empire. They are a top third-rate force with 5 Immortal King Level 5 experts. Prime Minister Gue immediately reported to Wang Xian. After learning that the Raging Flame Empire and the Iron Blood Alliance wanted to kill him, Wang Xian naturally had to be prepared. Over the past month, Ao Yao had led some subordinates to investigate a lot of information. 2 Level 5 Immortal King powerhouses. There are a total of 5 in the entire Raging Flame dynasty. Wang Xian mumbled as his eyes revealed a cold look. A force with only 5 Level 5 Immortal King powerhouses wanted to kill him. Have you found out why they want to kill me? Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, we haven't found him yet. I'm afraid only the powerhouses from the Iron Blood Alliance and the Raging Flame dynasty know about it. Prime Minister Gue shook his head. If we attack now, do you have the confidence to wipe them out in one fell swoop? Wang Xian asked. The possibility of keeping them all alive is very small. At the very least, the 2 Immortal King Level 5 powerhouses are hard to kill. We can severely injure the Iron Blood Alliance, but it's still a little difficult to wipe them out completely. Prime Minister Gue shook his head. He pondered for a moment and said, unless we can gather all the powerhouses of the Iron Blood Alliance just like the Beast Tide. We can exterminate all the powerhouses of the Iron Blood Alliance. Wang Xian sat there with a thoughtful look on his face. What's the current situation in the outside world? After more than 10 seconds, Wang Xian asked. Dragon King, everything is normal. All the properties of our Dragon Palace are on the right track. The Firehammer clan has evolved into the Fire Gold Dragon Seed. The divine weapons they forged have been sold on planet Dongqi and are loved by the strong. The elixirs refined by the Dragon Queen and the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed have also been snatched up. Now, the Dragon Palace can earn a lot of resources every day. These resources can help the members of the Dragon Palace improve rapidly. The weakest among us now has the combat strength of a level 5 Eternal Lord. Prime Minister Gue said with a smile on his face. There were more than 170,000 members of the Dragon Palace and the lowest combat strength was a level 5 Eternal Lord. This force was absolutely invincible in the entire region. After we finish off the Iron Blood Alliance, there will be no enemies in this region. When the time comes, we will expand the number of members of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian said. It's the Dragon King. Chapter 2498. 2498 2498 Arrangement. Immortal King Level 4. Empress Star Lady followed behind Wang Xian with a face full of shock. She looked at Auntie Ying who was beside her. Such a terrifying speed of improvement, even those powerhouses who were reborn with blood might not be able to do it. Auntie Ying shook her head slightly and sent a voice transmission. With his speed, won't he be able to improve to Immortal King Level 5 or even Level 6 in a year or two? Emperor Star Lady said dumbly. I feel that the underlings beside him are stronger than the Dragon King. Auntie Ying frowned as she sensed Aohe's strength. Her strength was at Undying Level 6, and from her senses the energy from Aohe's body wasn't weak at all. The one who could make him feel that wasn't weak was most likely an Undying Level 5 warrior. This? Emperor Star Lady was stunned. When he heard that the Dragon Palace had destroyed the East Li Immortal Dynasty and had a few Level 4 Immortal King level warriors, she was already shocked. However now, the other party had displayed even more powerful strength, causing her to be stunned. Since when could one's strength increase so easily? Ayo Yao, you guys go around and check out the news. Once you find the Immortal King Desolate Beast, report immediately. After entering the Lualman Desolate Beast Park for hundreds of billions of kilometers, Wang Xian immediately ordered Ayo Yao and the rest. This time Ayo Yao brought 3 of her underlings. All of them had the ability to assassinate an undying godly monarch level 3 powerhouse. Of course, the main reason they came was to find the Desolate Beast. With the hidden ability of the Thorn Dragon species, without the strength of an undying godly monarch level 6 or 7, without a serious search, they would not be discovered. At the very least, Auntie Ying did not discover Ayo Yao and the rest. Ayo Yao and the rest were able to investigate the surroundings more easily than Auntie Ying of the Emperor Star. They would not alert the Desolate Beasts. Just follow me. This time, I won't let you go and investigate. Wang Xian said to the Emperor Star Lady. Using the Ancestral Tree's ability to transmit information to the surrounding trees, he could sense the situation around him. Di Xingnu did not say a word. The Lorman Desolate Beast Park was extremely huge. There were countless desolate beasts living here. According to the guess of some people in the AI, there were at least tens of thousands of Immortal King Desolate Beasts. The Desolate Beasts in the middle were extremely powerful and had the strength of a level 5 or 6 Immortal King. Every Immortal King Desolate Beast had their own race or territory. Once a new Immortal King was born, they would often fight over their territory. Boss. Dragon King, I have found an Immortal King Desolate Beast. 2 hours later, a thorn dragon flew over and reported to Wang Xian. Location. Wang Xian immediately asked. Star Lady Beauty, it's your turn. After receiving the message from the thorn dragon, Wang Xian immediately said to the Emperor Star Lady. How did you find out? She looked at Wang Xian in surprise. I naturally sent people to investigate. There is a level 2 Immortal King level Desolate Beast at a location of 200 million kilometers to the right. Attracted over. Wang Xian said to her. All right. Di Xingnu looked at him and didn't ask any more questions. She flew straight to the right. This wasn't the first time she was being chased by a desolate beast. Now she was much more relaxed. Buzz buzz buzz. Di Xingnu left. Wang Xian quickly began to set up a formation. He didn't need to set up a formation that could trap a level 4 Immortal King level Desolate Beast. A formation that could trap a level 3 Desolate Beast was enough. The speed of setting up the formation was very fast. By the side, Ant-Ing retreated tens of millions of kilometers. Following that, Wang Xian and Ao Crab hid at the side and waited. Roar, roar, roar. An hour later, a roar was heard accompanied by an extremely pathetic figure. It's here. Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. The Empress Star was still in an extremely pathetic state this time. No one could have imagined that the famous star goddess of the Imperial Star Field would be in such a pathetic state. Buzz. When the Desolate Beast entered the area, the formation was activated. Boom. Wang Xian immediately appeared. His arm turned into a dragon claw and grabbed the Desolate Beast in his hand. At the same time, a terrifying dragon aura engulfed the Desolate Beast. Roar, roar, roar. When the Desolate Beast saw Wang Xian who had suddenly appeared, it revealed a terrified expression and let out a terrified cry. However, with Wang Xian's current strength, it was impossible for it to escape. Wang Xian grabbed the beast with his dragon claw and immediately began to tame it. The process of taming the beast was still very fast. In less than half an hour, the Immortal King Desolate Beast was crawling under Wang Xian's feet. Very good. Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. With a wave of his arm, the surrounding formation disappeared. Go back to your nest and wait for the order. Wang Xian had a thought and ordered this war pet. Roar. The tamed war pet let out a low roar and flew back to its nest. Huh. Why did you let it go back? When Di Xingnu saw that Wang Xian had let it go back after taming it, her face was filled with astonishment. I have my own plans. Wang Xian said to her mysteriously. If you don't want to say it, then so be it. The Celestial Queen said coldly. Wang Xian smiled and didn't say anything. He stood on the spot and waited quietly. In less than an hour, there was news from Ao Yao. Let's go. This time the distance was relatively far. After flying for more than 100 million kilometers, Wang Xian stopped. About 5,000 kilometers over there, there's a level 1 Immortal King Desolate Beast. Wang Xian pointed at a spot and said to the Empress Star Lady. She didn't say anything and flew straight ahead. This time the wait was a little long. It took the Empress Star Lady more than an hour to bring the Immortal King level 1 Desolate Beast over. After taming it easily, Wang Xian let the battle pet return to his territory and waited for the order. In the following period of time, Wang Xian began to tame Desolate Beasts one by one in the Luomen Desolate Beast Park. A month later he had tamed a total of 40 Immortal King level war pets, including 5 level 3 Immortal King level war pets. However, he didn't tame any level 4 Immortal King level Desolate Beasts. Dragon King, if we go any further, we will be close to the central area of the Luomen Desolate Beast Park. There might be even stronger existences in that area. After taming the 40th Desolate Beast, Ant-Ing flew over and reminded Wang Xian. I know, I will be careful. Let's see if we can tame some level 4 Immortal King level Desolate Beasts. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. In his plan, these 40 Desolate Beasts were not enough. He had to tame at least 3 level 4 Immortal King level battle pets. These 3 Immortal King level battle pets were very useful. Furthermore, when they were sold in the future, his strength would be able to increase once again. It's best to be careful, young miss, you have to be careful too. There's someone in the Lorman Desolate Beast Garden that can break through the Tianyin Vale's defense. Shadow Ant reminded Emperor Star Lady. Chapter 2499. 2499 on the news of the beautiful green moon. Ant-Ing, don't worry. If I'm in danger, it's his fault. The Empress Star Lady said to Ant-Ing as she looked at Wang Xian who was beside her. Nothing will happen. My men will check it out before letting you go over. Wang Xian said to her in a speechless manner. Humph. The Empress Star Lady snorted softly and followed behind Wang Xian as they continued to fly forward. Ao Yao and the rest had already gone deeper into the area. The location they were at a month ago was at the edge of the Lorman Desolate Beasts. Now that they had entered the central area, even Ao Yao and the rest had to be careful. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings warily and carefully sensed the situation around him. Their speed had decreased by a lot. Dragon King, we have discovered a group of desolate beasts. There are a total of 5 Immortal King desolate beasts. 1 Immortal King level 4, 2 Immortal King level 3 and 2 Immortal King level 2. Not long after, Ao Yao sent a piece of news that surprised Wang Xian. 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts, a group. He revealed a look of surprise and looked at Di Xingnu excitedly. We have discovered a group of Immortal King Desolate Beasts. There are a total of 5. Be careful and attract them over. Wang Xian said. 5, you want me to attract 5 at once? Di Xingyar's face was dark as she glared at Wang Xian. Ahem, there's no difference between 5 and 1. There won't be any danger. Wang Xian gave her an embarrassed smile. You. Di Xing'er looked at her with some annoyance. If you do well in the next 1 to 2 years, I can help Chushi Space Beast to level up to Immortal King level 4. Wang Xian said to her. All right. Emperor Star Lady gritted her teeth and braced herself to fly forward. Every time she attracted an Immortal King Desolate Beast, she would be attacked like a rubber ball. Now that she had attracted 5 at once, the result was obvious. Not far away, Anding looked at Emperor Star Lady's back with some heartache and shook her head slightly. Dragon King, if your Dragon Palace becomes stronger in the future, can you help Xingnu? Anding turned her head and looked at Wang Xian, who was setting up the formation. She hesitated for a moment before speaking. Ha! Wang Xian was slightly stunned. Following that, he looked at the disappearing figure in front of him and nodded with a smile. Sure, no problem at all. Thank you very much, Dragon King. Anding smiled in surprise. It's just a small matter. I'll help if I can. If I can't help, I won't help either. Wang Xian shook his head and continued to set up the formations one by one. He had a vague guess about the identity of the Celestial Emperor's daughter. However, although the Dragon Palace was weak now, it wouldn't be long before there was a place for the Dragon Palace in this dazzling land. He was confident. After the formation was set up, Wang Xian began to wait. However, this time, the desolate beasts were not attracted over even after 2 hours. Dragon King, she is being entangled by 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts. Wang Xian asked Ao Yao and the rest and got a reply very quickly. Is she being entangled? He frowned slightly. Dragon King sent me a message. She has no way to come here. She can't get rid of the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts. An hour later, Anding came to Wang Xian's side and said to him. Got it? Wang Xian frowned. He immediately informed Ao Yao to bring Di Xingnu over. Damn bastard, let me attract the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts. At this moment, at a distance of more than 200 million kilometers, Di Xingnu's face was flushed red. She was being attacked by the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts. Rumble. An incomparably huge tail swept over, causing her face to turn pale, her body flew backwards, she felt dizzy. Bastard. She cursed angrily, her eyes reddened, she almost cried. Right at this time, beside her, a shadow suddenly grabbed her. Emperor Star Lady was shocked, she couldn't help but struggle. Miss, don't worry, the Dragon King wanted us to take you away. Ao Yao's voice immediately sounded in her ears. Who? When Emperor Star Lady heard this, she heaved a sigh of relief, she looked at Ao Yao fearfully. Ao Yao's image was indeed terrifying. Howl, howl, howl. Behind them, the 5 undying godly monarch desolate beasts were stunned when they saw the sudden appearance of the strange Yao. Following that, they let out a roar and immediately chased. Ao Yao and the rest were not a match for the undying Emperor level 4 desolate beast. He brought along Emperor Star Lady like a ghost as they swiftly shuttled through the forest. Roar, roar, roar. After chasing for tens of millions of kilometers, seeing that they could not catch up to the strange demon, they scanned their surroundings warily. The leading undying Emperor level 4 desolate beast hesitated for a moment before stopping and letting out an angry roar. Huh? Emperor Star Lady hesitated when she saw that the desolate beast wasn't chasing after her. This fellow, I have to get him to give me something good. She gritted her teeth and with a move of her arm, she took out an item from her space ring. A piece of meat, gray meat, it contained a terrifying energy. Wong. Roar, roar, roar. When this piece of meat was taken out by her, the 5 undying god Emperor desolate beasts behind seemed to sense something. Their eyes instantly revealed a burning look. Howl, howl, howl. The 5 undying god Emperor desolate beasts roared and chased. Huh? The Ao Yao with Emperor Star Lady sensed this piece of meat, a familiar look flashed in his eyes. He did not have time to think. He flew at full speed with Emperor Star Lady. Oh, those undying godly monarch desolate beasts are following us. At Wang Xian's position, when he sensed the roars coming from the front, he was slightly stunned. A look of joy appeared on his face. Anding, hide for a while. He immediately said and immediately hid with Ao Crab. Ao Yao's figure soon appeared in front of him. At this moment, he was fleeing crazily with the Empress Star while the 5 desolate beasts were chasing after him. This is... Suddenly Wang Xian was stunned. His gaze was fixed on the piece of meat in the Empress Star's hand. The grayish meat contained a majestic energy. An extremely familiar aura was transmitted over. When he saw this piece of meat, his expression changed drastically. Roar, roar, roar. The desolate beasts were getting closer and closer. When they stepped into the formation, Wang Xian gritted his teeth and immediately activated the formation. Ao Crab, suppress those desolate beasts for me. Wang Xian growled in a low voice. There was a hint of violence in his eyes. Following that, under the dumbfounded situation of the Imperial Star Lady, Wang Xian rushed straight towards her. Bus. In her shock, Wang Xian grabbed her neck directly. A cold, murderous aura was transmitted into her mind. The space around her was immediately confined. Tell me, where did you get this piece of flesh? Wang Xian grabbed her. Although it was blocked by the heaven-concealing veil on her body, his fierce expression still gave Di Xingnu a fright. Chapter 2500. 2500 Under the news of 2500 green moons. What are you doing? You heartless bastard. What are you trying to do? The Empress could feel the cold, murderous aura from Wang Xian's body. Her already pale face turned even paler as she yelled at him incoherently in fear. How did you get this piece of flesh? At this moment, Wang Xian's eyes were a little red as he stared at her coldly. Wang Xian could feel Xiaolan's aura from this piece of grayish flesh. How could Xiaolan's flesh be in her hands? What was the current situation of Qingyue Lingxiu and the rest? This was given to me by someone else. What are you going to do? The Empress' expression changed as she stared at Wang Xian and asked coldly. Who gave it to you? Wang Xian stared at her coldly and questioned her. Yes, Sister Lan Qingyue and Sister Sun Lingxiu gave it to me. This is the flesh of their space beast pets. What has it got to do with you? The Empress' expression turned gloomy as she spoke to him. Qingyue Lingxiu. When Wang Xian heard what she said, he could tell from her eyes that she was not lying. The murderous aura around her vanished instantly. How did you know Qingyu and Lingxiu? Where are they now? Wang Xian looked at her and grabbed her arm. His voice softened a little. Let go of me first. Di Xingnu stared at Wang Xian angrily. Phew, I'm sorry. I lost my composure. Lan Qingyue and Sun Lingxiu are very important people to me. Wang Xian took a deep breath and apologized to Celestial Lady. Celestial Lady snorted in dissatisfaction. About a year ago, when Aunt Ying and I were preparing to capture the towering snake space beast, we met them in a patch of space. At that time, Sister Lan Qingyue and Sun Lingxiu were being hunted down. Aunt Ying saved them. At that time they had an Immortal King level 3 space beast. At that time she said that there was nothing to repay us, so she gave us this piece of flesh. They said that this piece of flesh could attract the space beast just like what they said. Then, do you know where they are now? Do you know where they went? Wang Xian asked nervously. I don't know, but they should be safe now. Auntie Ying said that their void beasts are very powerful, much more powerful than the towering snake. The Imperial Star Lady replied. Then do you know who is chasing after them? Wang Xian's expression changed. He took a deep breath and continued to ask her. Why should I tell you? Based on your attitude just now, HMPH. Di Xingnu looked at him with displeasure. I can give you the towering snake space beast immediately. If you need any help in the future, I will not decline. Even if I have to offend a powerful force, my Dragon Palace is willing to help. Wang Xian stared at him and promised with a serious face. You. Di Xingnu was slightly stunned. She looked at Wang Xian in astonishment. This fellow actually said such words. You, who are they to you? Di Xingnu looked at him with some doubt. Wang Xian did not reply. He reached out to take the flesh in her hand and sensed it. It's our Dragon Queen. You saved our Dragon Queen. Our Dragon Palace will repay you. Ao Yao Yao looked at their Dragon King and said softly. Dragon Queen? Dragon King? Both of them? HMPH a playboy. Di Xingnu was stunned for a moment before she curled her lips. It's good that you're all right. Wang Xian sensed Xiaolan's flesh. He could vaguely sense that Xiaolan was still alive. As long as Xiaolan was still alive, Qingyu and Lingxiu would be fine. Thank you for saving Qingyu and the rest back then. Wang Xian thanked Di Xingnu. Just don't think about killing me. Di Xingnu didn't give him any face at all. I'll help you tame the towering snake space beast. Within a year I'll help you raise it to level 5 Immortal King. Wang Xian waved his arm and the towering snake space beast appeared beside him. Are you serious? Emperor Star Lady's eyes sparkled as she stared at him and said, You guys saved Qingyue, Lingxiu and the rest. Our Dragon Palace owes you a favor. Don't worry, we won't lie to you. Wang Xian said directly. That's more like it. Emperor Star Lady's expression turned good. I'll go tame the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts first. Wang Xian looked to the side and saw that the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts had been suppressed by AO Crab. He immediately flew over. Immortal King level 5. Empress Star Lady looked at AO he who was suppressing the 5 Immortal King Desolate Beasts, her eyes gleaming. Her Aunt Ying was only at Immortal King level 6, and this Dragon King's underling had already reached Immortal King level 5. This was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that this Dragon Palace gave her a strange and unfathomable feeling. Raising the towering snake space beast to Immortal King level 5 in a year, when that time came, who in the entire Emperor Star field would dare to compete with her? He was almost 100% sure that he could enter the Imperial Court's Divine Kingdom. Taming the level 4 Immortal King level Desolate Beast took some time. After an hour, the 5 Immortal King level Desolate Beasts were completely tamed. After removing the formation, he ordered them to leave immediately. Come, I'll help you tame the towering snake space beast. Wang Xian said to Di Xingnu who was beside him. All right. Di Xingnu naturally wouldn't reject him. She immediately nodded her head. She had spent too much time and money for this towering snake space beast. Miss? Aunt Ying flew over at this moment. She looked at Wang Xian in surprise and her gaze landed on Di Xingnu. Aunt Ying, do you still remember the 2 girls that we saved a year ago? Sister Lan Qingyue, son Lingxiu and the rest. They are this bastard's women, the Dragon Queen of the Dragon Palace. He said that the Dragon Palace will repay our kindness, he has helped me tame this snake, and he will also help me raise to Undying level 5 within a year. Other than that, this bastard also said that if I need any help in the future, he will definitely not decline, even if it's against a powerful organization. Emperor Star Lady seemed to have released all the grievances she had suffered over the past few months, her face full of happiness as she said to Aunt Ying. This? Aunt Ying was completely stunned. How did such a change happen all of a sudden? The 2 women from the space behemoth a year ago were the Dragon Queen of the Dragon Palace? The Dragon King's women? Aunt Ying was a little stunned. She didn't expect such a coincidence. The corner of Wang Xian's mouth twitched when he heard the Empress address him so brazenly. I won't argue with this little woman, he thought to himself. Oh right, do you guys know the strength of the people who chased after Qingyu and the rest back then? Wang Xian raised his head and looked at Di Xing'er, Aunt Ying and the rest. It seems to be a second-rate top force. It seems to be called Tianya, a force close to the central region. Aunt Ying thought for a moment and replied. Tianya? Wang Xian mumbled as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Chapter 2501. 2501 2501 Desolate Beast Nest, Undying God Country. Hiss hiss hiss. Success success. Within the Lorman Desolate Beast Garden, the towering snake was swallowing and spitting its head. Beside it, Emperor Star Lady was looking excitedly at the space beast in front of her. The towering snake used its head to gently lean against her, its intimate expression made her extremely excited. Space Beast, an Undying Level 3 Space Beast with its potential, it could grow to the pinnacle Undying level. Once this towering snake Space Beast reached the peak, her status would be greatly enhanced. With the characteristics of the towering snake Space Beast, no one below the Void God Emperor was her match. She would not be bullied by anyone in the Imperial Court. Her mother would also rise. Congratulations, young miss. Thank you, Dragon King. Auntie Ying also walked over with a smile on her face. She thanked Wang Xian and looked at her. At least you have some conscience. Di Xingnu was also very happy and excited. She looked at Wang Xian and raised her head slightly. Hee hee. Wang Xian smiled. You said that I'm your benefactor. I'm going back now. I won't serve you anymore. Imperial Star Lady raised her head proudly like a farmer who had turned over a new leaf as she spoke to Wang Xian. When Wang Xian heard her words and saw her smug look, his face turned a little black. Well, Star Lady Beauty, if I want to help you raise the Choo-Choo snake to Immortal King level 4 or even level 5, I need to capture and tame the desolate beasts and sell them to obtain a large amount of resources. If you are not willing to help me tame the desolate beasts now, I don't have the confidence to raise it to level 4 or even level 5 within a year or two. Wang Xian said to the Empress Star Lady with a black face. Didn't you say that you want to help the vertical snake to Immortal King level 5? The Empress Star Lady was slightly stunned when she heard his words and said in dissatisfaction. That is under the condition of being able to tame the desolate beast. You have also seen how fast I can tame the desolate beast. Now that I can't obtain too many desolate beasts, I don't have the confidence. Wang Xian shook his head. You rascal, are you going to put it bluntly or do you want me to be your bait? Di Xingnu's expression started to change as she said with uncertainty. It's a collaboration. In the future, if you manage to tame a lot of battle pets, I can give you an Immortal King level 4 battle pet. A level 5 battle pet wouldn't be a problem. Think about it. Taking out a Space Beast battle pet and an Immortal King level 4 or 5 battle pet, how cool is that? Wang Xian said with a smile on his face. You are really not a good person. A few seconds later, the Imperial Star Lady gritted her teeth and glared at Wang Xian as she said that. However, what this fellow said was too tempting. She was only one of her father's thousands of children. If she did not have some influence now, she might not be able to see her father even once in more than 10 years. Furthermore, her mother was not favored by her father. If she had a place in the imperial court with her own strength, her father would have a huge change to her and her mother in the future. You can use this piece of flesh to attract the desolate beasts. This way it might be faster. Wang Xian smiled faintly. Humph. She snorted softly with a face full of displeasure. Ao Yao, continue to search for the desolate beasts in the surroundings. Wang Xian ordered Ao Yao and the rest. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao and the rest nodded and disappeared in the next moment. On the side, Auntie Ying was trying her best to sense the silhouettes of Ao Yao and the rest. A hint of shock flashed across her eyes. The central area of the Lowerman Desolate Beast Park was obviously different from the outer area. Those who could occupy the central area were either powerful desolate beasts above level 3 Immortal King level, or a few Immortal King Desolate Beast races. In less than an hour, Ao Yao received news that the 4 Immortal King Desolate Beast races were all level 2 Immortal King. Let's go. Wang Xian said to Di Xingnu. Got it? Di Xingnu's body moved and immediately flew towards the desolate beasts. Roar, roar, roar. This time, because Di Xingnu took out Xiaolan's special piece of flesh from time to time, the 4 undying godly monarch desolate beasts chased after them crazily. 2 hours later, the 4 undying godly monarch desolate beasts entered the formation and were easily tamed. Continue. After taming the 4 desolate beasts again, Wang Xian put them back while Ao Yao and the rest continued their search. Roar, 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 roar. However, more than 10 minutes later, the center of the entire Lorman Desolate Beast Park seemed to be boiling. Terrifying roars could be heard one after another. The sound shook the heaven and earth. The entire sky seemed to have undergone a terrifying change. Wang Xian was slightly shocked. He immediately flew towards the sky. This is. Auntie Ying, who was beside him, also flew into the sky and stared ahead in astonishment. Bus, bus, bus. Hovering in the sky, Wang Xian looked towards the sky and sensed waves of terrifying energy. In the distance, a huge crack appeared in the void. The crack looked extremely terrifying. Waves of wild and pure energy came from within the crack. Within the crack, it seemed to contain a space. This is the Immortal King Divine Kingdom. It should be the Immortal King Divine Kingdom of the Desolate Beasts. Auntie Ying stared at that area and said in astonishment. The energy inside feels very strong, at least level 6 Immortal King. Wang Xian looked ahead and said in astonishment. Not only that, it's the lair of level 7 Immortal King Desolate Beasts. Beside her, Aunt Ying's eyes were sparkling as she said, "Roar roar roar. Ping ping ping." Just as she finished her sentence, a terrifying collision suddenly erupted in front of them. There's someone? Wang Xian was slightly shocked. Someone was fighting with the desolate beast there. It should be the lair of an Immortal King level 7 desolate beast. That desolate beast might have already fallen. Its divine kingdom has attracted the attention of other desolate beasts and humans. Enning guessed from the side. The lair of an Immortal King level 7 desolate beast. There must be many treasures there. Enning, shall we go and take a look? Emperor Star Lady immediately said. The treasures in the desolate beast divine kingdom are usually much less than humans. Furthermore, there are already people there. I can't make a move. Enning shook her head. I'll go and take a look. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and said to the Emperor Star Lady and the rest. I'll go too. The Emperor Star Lady also said to Wang Xian with great interest and followed closely behind. Miss, don't expose your identity. Aunt Ying shook her head helplessly and hid at the back. Boom, boom, boom. Wang Xian, Emperor Star Lady and the rest got closer. There were sounds of collisions coming from the front. The laws tore through the void and the Immortal King desolate beasts let out furious roars. When they flew over, there were still many desolate beasts fleeing in panic from the depths. There are so many Immortal King desolate beasts and there are so many humans over there. No, that doesn't seem to be humans. Wang Xian and the rest got closer. When they saw the situation in front of them, they narrowed their eyes slightly. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.